Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91 once more. We are talking to you guys, about Married at First Sight once again. Yeah, we're talking about season 13. Yeah, we're talking about season 13. We're talking about episode 4. This is where they finally go on their dates. Finally, I say dates, they go on their honeymoon. And we got to see some interesting behaviors, which I think Myrla was an interesting one. I think a lot of people were feeling some type of way about. I even saw a little bit of Zach and Michaela in terms of just them having a conversation about, when she spoke to the parents about how she argues and stuff. But we'll talk about some more about that in a second or two. Before we go any further, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the what up loads. We appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded. As always, guys, we've got a 30-minute. Oh, I'm gonna choke there. 30-minute open floor. This is where you guys can hit me up on an email. You can jump on and come and give your say. In fact, let me give you guys the email, okay? So you guys can have your say, okay? But we want to get you guys involved today. We want to get your opinions finally. I know it's been a little bit of a while. I hope you guys have recharged, okay, after the last season, because I know it was quite heavy. And it was quite emotionally taxing, okay? It seemed like we were talking about the same things over and over and over again each week. But today, we have a new season. And that means we will have new types of conversation, all right? So hit us up on Little Black Book, LBB, 91 talks@gmail.com. And we'll be able to get you on the panel tonight. Get you guys having that conversation, and hopefully as well get to get your opinions. So we've got half an hour before the super panelists come on to the show. Okay, Jay, I love for that, man. Jay says he's going to order a black one. Don't worry, Jay, I'll send one to you. It's calm, man. You don't have to order one. I can see you already bought one. You're good. I'll get one for you. Yes, so crazy stuff. Just watching Married at First Sight, I think we just saw some really interesting things happen, like the couples that started. I think Gil and Myrla obviously are the major ones that everyone wants to talk about. There was a lot of stuff that happened. Do you know what's interesting? I actually watched it, and actually I didn't think she was as bad as I thought she would be this week, right? She probably gets worse maybe during the course of weeks, but she actually wasn't as bad as I thought she was. I mean, she said one or two things, okay, where the tone was the problem, but actually she wasn't too bad, okay? She wasn't too bad. And then obviously they discussed about the finances aspect, and again, that wasn't too bad. The friends obviously had a conversation with Gil. Stay hydrated. Let him know, listen, you don't have to fund her lifestyle. She can fund it herself. Again, it wasn't that bad, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like anything crazy from Myrla. It was just more of a case of the comments here and there. And after a while, that will build up and begin to become a problem. I'll be honest with you. That will become a problem overall. Like, I think there was the part that really got me. Again, I'm always a big person on tone, tonation, the way you say things, how you said it, because that also conveys its own message. And I think the part that got me was when he said, listen, do you want a foot rub? And she's like, listen, I'm going to bed. Like, basically, she's just, listen, I don't want to hear it. I'm going to bed. Like, put a pipe in it. Keep quiet. I'm going to bed. And it was just like, again, it was a tone. Nothing wrong with her saying no. Nothing wrong with her saying that's not what I want. It's just a tone. Like, and I was just like, babe, you can find a better way in your tonation how to let the person know this is not what you're going to be doing, right? Like, okay, no, I appreciate that, but I don't want to be having a foot rub. And it's like little things like that are going to begin to grate. It's going to begin to grate Gil in the end. He's gonna find himself frustrated by her, right? So yeah, there was just little things like that. Complaining when they got to the honeymoon, complaining before they even got to the honeymoon. I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I was just like, oh sis, like, we need you to chill, because you're literally becoming a problem in your own relationship. Like, you're beginning to create strife and beginning to create problems simply by the fact of the way you're talking right now. So, I think it's something that she can learn to do better. I'm not discounting her just yet, but at the moment she's heading down a certain road I don't like. It's, you know what? Let me not talk too much. I'm sure people will come and shed their points and their opinions. Let me get Light on first of all as well. It's good to have Light on. Light, how you doing? You right?
Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. It's good to have you back on the show. Yes. How you doing, man? You good?
I'm good. I'm good.
It's good. It's good. It's good. Let us know
Looking
your
to be
thoughts,
on the
man.
panel.
Yeah, it's good
My
to have you
thought.
back.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I missed the first couple. Were we just talking about Jill and Myrla only,
Yeah, but you
or
can talk about any. You know, you can talk about anyone can come up to your thing. It's no problem.
I have a definite opinion about Myrla, but I've wanted to come and share a couple of points of view that I haven't heard expressed in the conversations in the past couple of weeks. And Merla's one of them, but I think I'm going to start with Ryan because I think he's the easiest. Um, I remember you guys talking a lot about him looking very sad on his wedding day and
Hmm.
wondering why that was. And then it was mentioned a couple of times that he is, he lost his best friend
Mm.
about a year ago. And I just kind of wanted to expand on that a little bit because
Okay.
my thought about that his countenance was still being questioned, and the way I saw it is that had his best friend lived, his
Mm.
best friend would have probably been his best man.
Yeah.
But on his wedding day, he's missing his best friend at every milestone.
Yeah.
While he's picking out his wedding suit, he's missing his best friend. While he's at the bachelor party, his best friend, in a normal circumstance would have thrown that bachelor party. So he would definitely have been at the bachelor party. And on the wedding day, it's like he would have been with me. He would have helped me get dressed. He would have maybe, been as, in the group of men that, they're not standing at the altar in this situation. But so as much as I can see why people were wondering why he was so sad, I was imagining him thinking about his best friend every single step of the way. And that's why I thought he was so sad. And I might be found to be, off the mark in that. Over the next few weeks, we're going to see how, he might come out of that a little bit. But that was my thought. That was one of my main thoughts. I'm sort of like Ryan, Team Ryan 2.0 now because I'm just sort of sticking with him on that. And I found a lot of things. I relate to him in a lot of ways about the family feeling him not, being normal and how much he probably is expected to conform and not able to. And we can go into that more at another time. But this was the main thing that I just wanted to point out about Ryan. And I see Linda came on, so I'm just going to like quickly say something about
No worries.
Bao. And and it really is a bit of, it could be a stretch, but I have a theory about Bao and her feelings about
Physical
not
touch.
wanting to be touched, about physical
Yeah.
touch. And it sort of connects, but I'm actually pulling a lot of possible stereotypes, so I might catch
That's
some
fine.
heat from it. But it started for me when she had that very strong reaction to her wedding gift from
Mm.
Johnny, that he when she kept saying that she thought it was a bro, and I think people were thinking it was more about she just doesn't like um athletics and she doesn't like sports and all of that. But my thought about it was very much about the type of personality that she probably envisions come or had experience that comes along with a sports person. And here's the stretch for me, that she is a she went to college in Texas, and she kept talking about this frat boy personality, which I've mentioned a couple of times before. I talk about from that frat boy personality as well. And for me, the frat boy personality, and I'm going to go with a racial stereotype in my mind, that sort of frat boy, white boy type guy in Texas of all places, and that type of personality often fetishizes Asian women. And so those types of people, from my perspective, sometimes don't know how to keep their hands to themselves. They don't know that they don't have permission to not touch me. And it's not always has to be very overtly overt. It doesn't have to be like there was a huge trauma. It could be that they just, they just want to touch your arm when you're not, you're just in the cafeteria, or they just want to, put their, arms around your waist, and it's like, please, I'm just going to class. Leave me alone. And so I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. That's a real stretch. I can't say that there's anything really specific. I'm just sort of connecting some dots. And that's my theory about her, because I'm finding, especially because of last night's episode, that she became very comfortable very quickly with Johnny, and was receptive of his physical touch and his affection. And she even initiated that at one point when they were looking at the gift basket that they got for their honeymoon. She's the one that initiated hugging him and that kind of stuff. I think because she became comfortable with him and she knew that he wouldn't take advantage of that she was open to physical affection. But she had to get to the point of knowing who the person was and understanding that she was safe with him to allow that. So I'm wondering, as her family is talking about it, when that started for her, because it could have been before high school. I mean, before college. It could have been high school. It could have been. I'm wondering if it's not about the family and it's not about anything, that has to do with that. I'm wondering if it's about her relations having to deal with, people that have fetishized Asian women.
Okay. I'm hearing you, like, as always. It's deep. I hear that. That's a good point. It could be. But I like that. I like that perspective that you brought there. It's a different spin on things, so it's something to consider. I appreciate it. Like, Linda, what's your thoughts? You want to jump on? You don't have to stay on Johnny and Bao if you don't want to. You can choose another couple. Go for it.
Sure. No, that's definitely an interesting perspective that Light brought on, because I've never actually really considered like that before, or even that those type of men had fetishes for Asian women. So that's very interesting. Just to touch on Bao just a little bit, I actually think that Bao would have preferred to not have known, even though I think she likes Johnny, I still think that she would have preferred to not know him, because I think that there's something about the familiarity that's actually has her holding back even more. Because she's familiar with this person, she doesn't have like that true experience of like marrying a stranger and having it all be new. Like there's history there. She's seen his face before. She knows things about him. And so I feel like that does make her more inhibited to like thrusting herself into the process because of that familiarity, strangely enough. So, and I feel like it just makes things even more weird because she does know him in a different light, as opposed to if he was truly a stranger to her. I think that some of that comfortability would be easier with a stranger. I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, I just think about like if I was to like randomly get married to a guy, like even a distant like friend that I might have known, it would be more weird than like actually marrying a stranger for some reason. So, and I actually found it pretty odd the way that she addressed Johnny. I don't know if it's editing or what it was, but like the way that she just said, "But what are you doing here?" Like I didn't know if that was sarcasm or if that was just like her truly not being pleased to see him in her bed, because it was just kind of rude, like uncharacteristically rude. Like I wouldn't ask a question like that to someone that you're like, you signed up to marry a stranger and you're asking him like, what are you doing in this bed? It's kind of like, unless they have like previously spoken about like sleeping in separate beds and all of a sudden he's in her bed, then I can understand asking a question like that. But it just seemed a little bit rude the way that she put it. So yeah, I think that they're kind of held back a little bit because they're already familiar with each other. So it kind of, I think it's kind of a con for them as opposed to being a pro. Moving on to Brett and Ryan. I don't think Ryan likes her. Like there's something, I don't think he likes her. I don't think he does.
I'm hearing
He keeps commenting about the red hair and attractiveness. Yeah, he keeps commenting about it like, bro, what does that have to do with anything? Listen, if he found her attractive, it didn't matter. Like it wouldn't matter the combination of like what makes her attractive. Like he would just find all of her attractive. You know what I mean? If she came packaged the way that in a form that he found attractive, he wouldn't. I don't think that he would keep making these comments about her physical attributes or like whether or not she's his type. Like they keep talking about each other's type a lot, and he keeps talking about her red hair. Like I don't know why he felt the need to bring it up as far as like with redheads, man, you're either attractive or you're not. And I feel like he's probably thinking it's a no-go for her.
Yeah, because it's mad.
Yeah. So I think that, I think that he's being polite, and he doesn't want to really say that he doesn't find her that attractive. Which I can understand, like you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but reading between the lines, it doesn't seem like he's really that into her. I think he was expecting maybe a petite blonde or like a different kind of gal. So, and their conversations don't flow. I think he's trying really hard. He also seems really depressed. Like there's a lot going on with Ryan. And to Light's point, it's, probably a lot of it has to do with the friend, but I'm not sure if he mentioned how long ago the friend passed away or if it was a recent thing. But he has a really just a heavy air about him. And like, I don't know if it's like introversion or if he is just not comfortable in front of the cameras, but he just seems like a really downtrodden spirit. And I feel like he just kind of got into this whole marriage process because he's just like, it's time. Like, I get like, what else is there to do with my life besides get married? Like I dated all of Texas already. So there's no one else to date. Like, I just need to get married. So just find me somebody and let's just get on with it. Like his whole air about him is just like, let's just get on with it. Like, I don't think he doesn't seem excited for the process. He just doesn't seem excited. He doesn't seem like someone who's excited to be married. So, and I think a part of that is because he's also not attracted to her. And I feel like if he found her more attractive, his demeanor would be a little bit more different. But he's definitely reserved, partially because of that attraction. With Myrla and after Myrla and Gil, I'll keep quiet. But with Myrla and Gil, I don't think that they're a good match. I feel like the experts definitely failed both of them because she is a high earner and they matched her with someone who's making significantly less than her. Like, it's not going to work. I don't know why they keep doing this. It's not going to work. Okay, like they tried this with Jasmine and Will. They tried it with Ryan and the nurse practitioner, I forget what her name was, didn't work. Like, stop pairing these women who make a lot, like, that's half the battle. Like, you're throwing obstacles at them. Like, you're literally, like, the experts putting them together, they put them together already with problems. You know what I mean? Like, already with significant problems, because finances are very important. That's a reason for most marriages failing. And as much as her friends try to assuage his concerns about her finances by saying that she makes sure that she saves first, she saves before she spends, so she makes sure her savings are in order, which I think is a very responsible thing to do and would ease some of those concerns. But at the same time, what happens when it's time to go on vacation? Like, your money is going to intermingle at some point, and she is not going to like having to foot the bill for most of the things that she enjoys, because she's going to want to do those things for her husband. And if he doesn't have the disposable income to be able to do it, it's going to be a problem if she has to like come forth and foot the bill for that. Like, she was looking for somebody who was kind of on her level financially, so that wouldn't be an issue. So as much as she's able to take care of herself, I also don't think that she's going to want to support a man financially as well. And the fact that he's not motivated by money, I mean, that you don't have to be motivated by money, but for me, if you're a man and you want a family, like that listen, this comes back to the whole thing about, I noticed like a lot of people are saying that Myrla needs to compromise. It's always, Myrla needs to compromise. She makes more. It's always the woman having to compromise. Why are we so comfortable telling women what they have to kowtow to when they've worked so hard to get into those positions? And we're not just as comfortable looking to the men and going, yeah, why aren't you getting your money up? But get your money up. Why are you comfortable making $30,000, $40,000 a year and you're saying you want a family? That does not support a family. So if you're telling me as a man, you want a family, you desire marriage, the cost of living, etc., that's not something that you're thinking about, So like as a man, I think if you're comfortable making a certain salary, like that's well below livable wages or a salary that's just to support yourself, then you're not thinking about a family. You're not thinking about marriage because when when kids come into play, when you have to pay those bills, pay for your kids, etc., and you're not thinking about those costs, you're just thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about a family. Like, no, we shouldn't just feel comfortable telling women, hey, compromise, 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 compromise when they've worked their butt off to be able to sustain themselves and more, meaning with family. And these men are not working to sustain themselves plus a family just as much. So I'm tired of like people telling Myrla she always has to compromise, and that's going to be a problem, and that's going to be their downfall.
Okay, I hear you. So can I do a quick pushback? I find it interesting whenever we have this conversation that, for instance, Gil has actually never said anything about her spending habits, right? But in this conversation, like when we're saying like for her to compromise, that the next reaction is almost to say the man needs to make more money, and it's like, but actually that doesn't solve their issue, because their issue isn't money at this moment. The issue is attitude towards money. Like, I think people are seeing, I get it. So I understand that in terms of a family, we don't know how much he makes, first of all. We don't know. We know roughly around, if he's a fireman, roughly between 40, 75,000 max is a cap, isn't it, right? 75,000, I think if he's a fire chief or whatever, he's probably like 50K cap, right? Which already he's above the median. So he's actually above the median wage in America, right? I get it. They did her dirty a little bit in terms of putting her with somebody who makes probably considerably lower. We can say probably. But I think, I honestly, somebody who knows how to handle their money, this isn't necessarily having to be an actual problem. I think we haven't even got there yet, right? In terms of it being a problem, because all we're seeing at the moment is her attitude towards having this lifestyle. There's a seeming kind of, I don't want to say arrogance. It's almost like things are below her, and that will become a problem in itself in terms of how you look at money, right? Because I've always said this: women having more money, the killer thing in any relationship with a man is attitude. If a man was behaving the same way she was behaving with money, you would call this guy an arrogant prick. Because the way she's actually the way she's actually portraying her attitude. You get into a hotel, you get into the honeymoon suite, and you're already complaining about it's not this, it's not this, it's not that. Now, if a man was doing this, we'd be like, whoa, like just because you got money doesn't mean you can have this attitude. Same thing with her. We can't try to flip it, because I don't care if she makes more money. Actually, I think it's great. She should continue going forward, and it would be better. I agree. I want to make this very, very clear. It would be so much better to have somebody on her level, but she would have the same problem, because it's not a money problem she's got, right? Her problem is, right, that she is rigid in what she wants. But let me let you hit back on that, Linda, because you did make some really good points. So I just want you to hit back on that, because I don't want to just talk it and then you don't get to talk back to her. Just add on to what was kind of saying there and what your thoughts were. Sorry.
No, that's okay. You have to go back and watch the matchmaking special, because when they talked about putting them together, I believe it was Dr. Viviana specifically said, I like them together. However, he makes way less than her. She said that. He said, and Dr. Pepper and Dr. Cal or Pastor Cal were like, yeah, and they just kind of brushed it to the side. The flag was raised. And Dr. Viviana said, yeah, he makes way less than her. Like, this is going to be a problem. And they were just like, yeah, they can get past it. Okay, see, therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
Therein lies the problem. She said lifestyle is important to her. Whether I agree with it or not, like, I'm just thinking about what she, like, the deal breakers, you know, that make or break a relationship. And if somebody is telling you their deal breaker, and you are specifically dismissing that deal breaker, which is one of the most important things, like, to me, you are trying to start trouble. Like, you are matching them, and you know it's going to go south. Like, you know it's going to go south. Just like with Olivia, and I think it was Brett and Olivia. She said, this is my lifestyle. I love to travel, X, Y, Z. And they matched her with a frugal, extremely frugal person who makes way less than her, who watches every penny and pinches every penny. And you're expecting them to get along. Like, they're not going to get along. And I also believe, you know, look, this is just me personally, but
Yeah.
their honeymoon location, in my opinion,
Wasn't the
was
greatest.
not.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
It was trash.
So listen, you're talking about their wedding, their reception, their wedding was better than where they went for a honeymoon. I would have like honeymoon there. You know what I mean? So like, I can understand being upset. Like, this is America. Like, I know like the C-19 is happening and whatnot. That might pose restrictions, but I think that there were so many places in America that they could have taken them to. That wasn't some like, and she was right. It did look like a retirement home. I'm sorry, it looked like just some like backyard hotel. And these are people's weddings. You know, their first time getting married. So like, I know it's married at first sight and whatnot, but yeah, they took him to a motel for their honeymoon. I do understand being kind of upset. I think that was probably the cheapest honeymoon that I've ever seen, like in all of the seasons. Like, so yeah, I can understand being kind of upset. I know that it's Married at First Sight. I know it's a TV show, but like, I kind of side with Myrla when it comes to like, they could have done them a little bit better than that. Like, so I can get like being kind of annoyed about that. And we're 13 seasons in, and this is the best you can do. Like, and these people are getting married for the first time. It's everybody's first time when they get on this show. So, you know, you do need to put a little bit more thought into it. So I can understand the annoyance with that. And I don't necessarily think that, but I do think that you are right as far as like, there is something with her attitude. Like there's sort of this air of better than thou, but I don't think it's just money. I think it's I think she just thinks she's better than people, period. Not even just because of money. Like the way she was talking to her friends, like getting ready, like, oh, I don't want your eyebrows. I don't want to look like you. I don't want to do this. Like that's beyond money. Like I think that she thinks she's better than people in general. She has this air about her, and the money kind of is just another factor. But I think that that's like her overall personality, because I don't think it's just about money. Because when she is interacting with her friends, it's like the same attitude.
Energy, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same energy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I definitely hear that. I mean, I definitely agree that as well. The place was not looking. It was not, bro. I don't know if the budget got cut or what. It just looks. I'm gonna say it looked basic. So that's why I never got onto her about necessarily per se. I get why she mentioned it. I think it's the build up of continual comments about very strict guidelines. Yes, no. I'm doing this. I'm not doing this. Right. And here's my thing. I think the reason why I mentioned about the money situation is because once the friend said she's happy to sustain herself, why is the issue now become again about money? Right? If she can sustain herself and she wants to pay for things herself, you're coming into a partnership. See, when we do it the other way around, right? I know we're talking about patriarchy, society. I understand that, rah. But we're talking about a partnership now. When you get into marriage, we come into a partnership, and it's like, see, when you said it, it was quite interesting because which was, why is it that the man will have to be in a situation where she's having to pay for things? Why not? You're in a partnership, right? When you're in a partnership. So when you're in a partnership, some people are stronger in other areas than others, right? So, but I get it. Money's such a sticky situation, so I actually get it. I'm not actually disputing your point. I'm only making the point in the sense of why are we not thinking as a partnership, right? Because we're conjoining our finances together to take us further. You know what I mean? Like you want to be able to work as a team going forward. So if you like a little bit of the more things that are going to involve both of us, let's say holiday. I think Holiday is a really good example, which you used, Linda. Holiday is a really good example. She obviously, when she got to that hotel, now here's where I think there's going to be an issue. The way she spoke about the motel, wherever they were staying, it looked really bad. Wherever they were staying, the comments that she was making, here's my issue. If he ever decides to go on holiday with her now, right, and he says, look, hey, my budget is actually this. I actually can't afford this particular hotel with my finances at this moment, and then she's like, okay, well, I have to stay in this place. I can't stay in this place. That's where we're gonna have issues, right? Because if then she can't be flexible and say, actually, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna add the extra money so we can get that hotel and not feel a way about it. Then we're gonna have issues, right? Because and again, this is about not seeing your person as a partner, but seeing it from a perspective of, I've got another person I've got to feed, and I'm not trying to raise a kid. It's like, no, but you have an advantage here in terms of finances. Forget patriarchy, forget the fact that you've had to work hard as a woman, doubly hard, or anything like that. You are now in a marriage, and you are now here as a partnership. how do we able to work together then? You may have to put an extra load on your financial aspect, and you may have to compromise in that area, right? But I also understand we want what we want. So
can I
I'm
say
not too
something
sure.
to this really
Go for
quick,
it.
really quick?
Yeah, yeah.
And then fundamentally, that is why it's not going to work. Okay, so the way I think about it is this: you cannot forget patriarchy. You cannot forget masculine, feminine roles, because they do play a part. Like
Course.
we're creatures, yeah, but there's also biology to this. There's also evolution to this, right? So fundamentally, if a woman is going home, like for instance, I'm talking about resources. If I'm going out there and I'm taking down a bison, right, and I'm coming back to our dwellings, and you're sitting there with a bunny rabbit, it's not going to cut it. You have the woman going out, and she's able to procure a certain amount of resources for the family, right? As a man, how are you okay just bringing home bunny rabbits when your woman is slaying bison and bringing that home? You know, that's why I'm saying, like, instead of looking to the woman and thinking about what they need to be compromised, and we should be looking to the men more and saying, hey, you need to step your game up. You want a family, right? You want a family.
But wait, why does he step his game up? If he's making enough money, remember, this is about lifestyle. Because the issue isn't that he's not making money. The issue is her lifestyle is much higher. So this is not about money now. It's about lifestyle, the lifestyle she wants to lead. But you want to be married. So you're now in a partnership with somebody else. And her attitude towards money is also the issue. It's a snooty attitude. It's different from somebody who just has a lifestyle. She actually has a snooty attitude towards it, which means nothing seems to be good enough, right? So I'm hearing what you're saying, right? But like, for instance, when we're talking about a bison, right, going out there, killing a bison, bringing home resources, I understand that, but I totally get that, right? But that's what I'm saying, that you're in a partnership at that point in time. Because if we are, and I you know, I stick with the male and female feminine. I'm with you on that, so I'm agreeing with you. I'm kind of throwing another aspect in there. The other aspect is that, you know, if we're looking from a different perspective, which is that, okay, cool. If we're gonna start doing that, I'm gonna if that's what you're saying, then when I come home, I'm gonna put you in your feminine place. Why don't you then just do the homework then? I'll make enough money now, and you stay at home. Suddenly that becomes a problem, because she's not going to stay at home. She's not traditional. The moment you go out of the realms of, okay, if I say stay at home, and I'm talking about recent traditional, by the way, because women have always kind of worked in some shape or form. But like if I talk about just westernized traditional, right? Once you go out there, you're no longer that traditional westernized role. So you're already playing out of the role. Like, you're not really in the role that you're meant to be playing, right? So if I then say to you, stay at home, I make enough money now, stay at home, and she says she just want to stay at home, we'll be saying we've got to liberate women. So understand that we can't play by one rule and stick it as this if we don't play by all the rules that exist in this particular format when we're talking about patriarchy. So we have to work as a partnership. So I get you about the bison stuff, and I get it, because I actually see I'm with you on that, to be honest. I would prefer it that way, just because I think our egos tend to play into this. But he said he's not moved by money. So sis, enjoy the man that you're with. But yeah, go on. One more time, Linda. Hit it back, and then I'll move it on to Tay before. Sorry.
Sure.
This is a little thing. I mean, I just want to respond to what we're talking about, and then I'll very quickly, because I know you want to get to Tay. For my mind, it's really, we're focusing on the money and the ability to make the money. I think the focus for Myrla is more about the lifestyle and the specifics of the lifestyle. For example, if she wanted to pick up today and say, I'm going to go to Paris for the weekend, and I'm going to go shop and have, what she wanted to do, that someone in Gil's lifestyle can't pick up and just go like that. He's got to plan that out. He's a firefighter. Technically, that's a blue collar job. He's got like 6 weeks of, vacation time. He's got to plan it. Not to mention, they said that Gil is a saver. So it's not like he's, not thinking about money. It's just not the focus. For him, the focus is about, having a positive lifestyle. She is not a positive person. So there is a disparity in the making of the amount of money, but the problem for them is the attitudes towards life in general, and money happens to be her anchoring factor or her motivating factor.
I hear that. Linda, you want to respond? Then I'll move it to Tay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's definitely a good perspective. Like, but I will say to that, the reason she's so motivated by money, obviously, is because of her traumatic upbringing, being extremely poor and whatnot, which we shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely integral to her motivation for money and probably why she's as successful as she is now. My issue is fundamentally, like, when it comes time to, like, you're in a partnership, but you also want your partner, especially as a woman, you know, you want your man to be able to be where you're at, where, like, if you want to upgrade to, like, the hotel, or you want to put your kids in a certain school, etc., like, and he's going to be telling you, oh, that's not in my budget. A woman like her, and a lot of women who are making more money, they will, like, it's not going to cut it. Like, it's just not going to cut it. And yeah, you can say, okay, it's not like he's poor. I don't think he's poor. I think he lives in a decent apartment or house from what we saw. Like, he didn't live, like, in some raggedy place, right? But he's just not where she's at. So that's why I feel like you should at least, like, match people in the same tax bracket, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, it's more natural for a man to, if there is a burden to be shouldered financially, it's more natural for a man to do that. And I think that they take to that better than for a woman to do that. So when she starts having to, which is going to be inevitable, when she starts having to, you know, shoulder some of that burden, or, you know, spot him for things like that, they're going to have really serious issues. And I feel like if they matched her with someone that was in her tax bracket, you know, let's not even talk about income, because I guess that's relative to, like, your lifestyle, but, like, in her tax bracket, then, like, them wanting to fly business class or upgrade to a 5-star hotel, whatever, it wouldn't even be an issue. You know what I mean? So you automatically take those problems out of the picture just by matching people who are similar in that capacity at the very least. And that's what she asked for. And so, and I also think that she senses that he's not on her level. And so it's kind of like her way of, like, kind of showing that, like, you're not where I'm at, and she's not happy with that. And she has every reason to not be.
I hear you. I mean, to be honest, if she makes that amount of money that she's talking about, she's on the wrong show. I mean, because the guys who are making that kind of money, they're not on this show. They're not on the show. If you're making that kind of money that you were talking about, that is really extensive, they're not. These men are not on this show. Okay, they're not on Married at First Sight. They don't need to be on Married at First Sight. So she already made an error there by going on the show, or she been recruited. Maybe, we don't know. So, you know what I'm saying, you're on the wrong show if that's what you're going for. You need to be on Kevin Samuel, no jokes, but you need to be on the show where these high earners are going to be, because that's what you're really requiring, a high earner. But I'm definitely hearing you, Linda, and I actually, like I said, I actually agree with a lot of the points that you're talking about as well around the financial issues. This is. Yeah, it's always a problem when it comes to finances, and when someone earns a bit more. In terms of, if it's a drastic amount, yeah, it's a problem. But we don't know yet, so we definitely know there's a gap, but we don't know how much it is at the moment. So it could be really close, and if it's really close, then we'll have another conversation, won't we? So yeah, I appreciate it, Linda. Tay, you want to jump in and give us your thoughts?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Tay.
So I feel like with Myrla and Gil, Myrla's heart is not in the right place.
Okay.
Because she's stuck up again, I'm just going based on the clip. She seems very stuck up and set in her ways. And that's not going to work in a marriage. Because already she started off just complaining. And they just kept going. And I was just like, can she just enjoy the moment for just 5 minutes? Without complaining about the room or whatever it was she was complaining about. I can't really remember. But her heart's not in the right place. And she's going to block her blessings. Even if it doesn't work out with Gil, she's going to continue to block her blessings because she's coming off as difficult. And no one wants to deal with someone who's set in their ways, doesn't want to compromise, and just, in a way, she was almost kind of looking down on people. I was just like, I just don't think she's in the marriage mindset. And they're mismatched in general. I was like, how did they pair these two together? Because I was like, these experts, some of these people are just, I'm like, These experts, I'm starting to question these quote unquote experts because I'm just like, who picked these two together? And then with Brett and Ryan, I just don't think he's really that into her. It's just like even the conversations, it's just like he barely seems like he's even really there. He says like 1 to 2 words, and it's just like, I don't know with them. It's almost coming off like a Matt and Amber situation to where it's like, I just don't think he's that interested. And I feel bad for Brett because she seems like she's really trying, but he just doesn't seem to really be there. I don't know with him. I guess we'll just have to keep waiting and see. With Zach and Michaela, I think they're cute. I mean, from the previews, it seems like they're going to have issues later on. They seem like a cute couple, but I don't know. Based on the previews, it seemed like they're going to come into some issues later on. I just feel like Zach's a little immature. And I feel like he kind of just wanted to hurry up and get married because he was just feeling the heat from, you know, family and friends. So it's almost seemed like, oh, let me hurry up and get married so I don't feel left out in a way. Let me see. Oh, Johnny and Bao. They're cute. I really like them. I feel like once Bao gets more comfortable, I feel like they can really last.
I appreciate it, Tay. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing your opinion. I know I've got David here because we're going to be my last person. David, welcome to the convo, bro. Oh, you're there, yeah, David. Let us know your thoughts, man. You're the last person, so let us know your thoughts, Captain. Oh, I think he's in the rig. He's probably muted himself there. All right, cool. Let me ask someone else real quick. We'll have a last question because we didn't get to finish yet. Zach and Michaela, let me get some quick fire thoughts from Light and Linda. Light, what was your thoughts on Zach and Michaela?
I actually don't have a lot of thoughts on Zach and Michaela. I think that what Tay said actually, that was a feeling I had too, is that he was sort of desperate to get married because of, you know, he's the oldest, if I'm not mistaken, and his younger siblings are in committed relationships. One is married, one has been in a long-term relationship. I think that there is something that is gonna. I don't know. I actually really love Kayla, but I know that the thought about the Hurricane K coming is, it's been a big subject, but even without that, there's something about it that I don't feel that good about them moving forward. There's something just off. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. I usually have a lot to say, but I really don't know. I still have to think about that.
I tell you here. We're all waiting for Hurricane Kane. Don't worry, you're good. We're in the same boat as you. Linda, what was your thoughts on Michaela and Zach?
Yeah, so I think I'm trying to disassociate knowing about Hurricane K, which I didn't really know about before, like just kind of listening to other people talk about it. So you kind of know, and seen the previous, of course. So I'm trying to like disassociate that because I think if we didn't know about Hurricane K, you would think, oh, they're a great couple. They're a great couple, but it's kind of like you kind of know doom is coming, so you're like just waiting for it, and then you're kind of picking up on these things with Michaela's actions that you're like, oh, that seems a little crazy, that seems a little off, she seems like she can do something different and be a totally different person. I think it's because I already know, like I already saw previews, I know what she could get to, but I think like face value, if I didn't know that, I would think that they were a good couple or a good match. My only thing is there is a level of extra to Michaela. So like there are things that she says and like just how she does that, things that she does that I feel like are just so extra and kind of seem like she's just doing too much with like the way that she behaves. Like when Zach's family just asked her a simple question, like, how was the wedding? It was great. I got a husband. And I'm just like, all right, like just take it down like a few notches. And like we even have to ask her, like, so what did you learn? Like, what did you learn about our son? Like, they had to like prompt her to like say something of substance. which almost makes me feel like she's kind of putting on a show to the camera. And I don't know, like there's something about her that just seems kind of fake, like she's doing too much. As far as I wish they would actually match her with someone older, like an older guy. I think that would have been better for Michaela than a younger guy like Zach, because I think an older guy would have grounded her. Even though she's 30 and she's, supposedly like 30, should be more mature, but I feel like an even older guy, like almost like 38, would have grounded her somewhat like immature ways. Can't hear you, Toto.
I thought I was on. My mic was on. So yeah, so I hear that. Sorry, I thought my mic was on. Yeah, so I hear that. Definitely hear that. I mean, obviously, you're right. I think there's a little bit of it's even myself. I'm trying not to be hyper focused on every little thing, because I know that Hurricane K is coming. Yeah, so the less said the better, because like I said, there's a bit of a hyper focus even for myself. Sometimes I'm looking at it like I have to be like, oh, I think there's a little bit of a hyper focus on how I'm seeing every move now. I'm like, oh, every move could be this, every move could be that. So yeah, oh, I think someone's dropped out, but okay, no, listen, Light and Linda, as always, man, you guys are powerful, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts tonight and giving us different perspectives. Especially loved like you're kind of giving us a different thought process in terms of potentially Johnny and Bao, was something that we can really look back upon as well. Linda, really appreciated your contribution in terms of the finances with Myrla as well. Like I said, I do actually agree with a lot of what you're saying in that regard as well. So Light and Linda, thank you so much. We're going to bring on the super panel, but I appreciate you guys for coming on. We'll have you again next week. Yeah, we'll get you nice and early so we can get the conversation flowing for you guys a little bit longer than we had this week. Is that okay?
Thank you, Kojo.
Pleasure as always, Linda. Thank you, Light. All right. Cool. Fantastic stuff. Guys, listen, I love that conversation, man, because like I said, I like different perspectives. I already know that we're going to have different perspectives. We've got a smaller team today, and actually that means we're going to have some really tight conversations today. I already know it's going to get a little bit tight today. So we're about to have our super panel on. It will be the four of us coming on and giving our perspectives, but it's going to be a really engaging conversation. Do me guys a favor before we do anything else. Please, if you're new to this channel, make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe to this channel, because we do this every Thursday when we got Married at First Sight, and every Saturday we have it for Put a Ring on It or Ready to Love. We put on that as well. So please do subscribe to this channel, become part of the Mineral Gang as well. Grab your merchandise, grab your water bottle, grab your hoodie, whatever. Enjoy the Mineral Gang. All right, yeah. But now I'm going to introduce my superheroes to the stage. You know what I mean? Listen, you know what? It's always nice when I get to have a smaller team, because I already know that means there's going to be some hot points of discussion. I'm even scared of what's going to happen with the Myrla and Gil conversation, because I know there's going to be some really intense opinions about this, right? But it's going to be some good conversation. So welcome him up to the stage, all the way from Jamaica today. Actually, she's in a different country now. You know what I mean? Like she wants to put as much distance between ourselves and her. So I'm only kidding, but we appreciate her a lot. Okay, she's a straight shooter. Okay, she don't play around. Okay, when she locks onto sight, onto the side, when she locks onto target, you know what I mean? Well, my English is failing me this week. I don't know what's been going on. I've been saying some mad things this week. If you've not seen my Instagram, I've been saying some mad things. The English is just not computing. But anyway, let me come back to it. Listen, when she locks onto target, she's always on sight. You know what I'm saying? Straight shooter, and keeps it 100% real. I want you to welcome to the stage, C-Way. What she's saying, girl?
Hey, family. Thanks, Kojo.
No worries. All the way from Jamaica, yeah?
Yes, in Jamaica for a wedding. So.
Oh, wow.
But I always make time for my little Blackwood family.
Come on now. We appreciate you all the way from Jamaica. We appreciate you. Thank you. Love for that, sis. All right, cool. Now my final two guests that are coming to the stage. You know what? I want to introduce them together. You know what I mean? Like, I want to introduce them together because it's like Hancock all over again. It's like, listen, you got the woman, you got the man. You know what I'm saying? When they get together, it's like fireworks and storms that go off. You know what I'm saying? And they both throw hot, heavy punches out here verbally. We're talking about in terms of talking about the behaviors. Okay, all right. So I want you to welcome to the stage the OGs to my stage. Okay, we got Sugar Ray and we got Locked and Loaded. What's good?
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Kojo. Hey, Sean. Hey,
What's up, Ray? What's up, Steeway? What's going on, Coach?
What's going on, cuz?
My faves.
It's gonna be a tight conversation, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna waste much time. I want to get the boring ones out the way because I almost slept watching these parts, okay? Brett and Ryan, I don't get what's going on. Why does my man look so downcast as if, I know that he lost his friend not long ago, but bruh, I haven't seen you break smile once. Do you know what I'm saying? So either you really going through a deep episode right now, and you probably shouldn't have applied for the show. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you should have let him stay away because it's like, throwing this person into this kind of thing when you don't know the person as well. It's not like you knew the woman already. It might have been too much. It might be emotionally tasking. But I want to get your thoughts on this particular episode. Ryan and Brett. What was your kind of thoughts? And I'm kind of tired of hearing about saying redhead and she's hot or she's not hot. It's really annoying. So Sugar Ray, since you got your mic open, I'll let me go first and then I'll let Seaway go after.
Yeah, I've always said this from the beginning that I find, is it Ryan? Yes, to be quite suspect. Let me tell you why.
Oh, Lord.
He is the kind of guy where he uses his emotions, like he holds his emotions hostage in a way, his own emotions hostage, and you have to free his emotions. You see what I'm saying? You have to free. So it's like he's always sad and he's always and then you have to go and peel. No, I don't got time for that. He is mad suspect. And I understand that another one of your panelists was saying that, he suffered a loss. I don't want to negate that. I don't want to make it seem like that doesn't matter or that that's not a potential reason to why he's behaving this way. But I don't know. I haven't seen what's coming up in the future, but based on my spirit and what I think is happening, I find him to be very suspect. And the fact that Brett is already someone who's an overachiever and always trying hard and talking about, oh my God, is he going to love the real me? Or is he going to want, the made up me? It's like, she's trying so hard. She's insecure. She's going to overwork. She's never going to break through that shell. And it's not going to work. But I could be wrong. That's where I'll start.
Strong fighting words there from Sugar Ray. I hear you. Throwing them punches. Seaway, jump in for me, man. Crip walk on this thing.
Yeah, without getting too much into like the nitty gritty of the details, the one thing that I would just take away from their whole exchange is this bad energy. It went from like neutral last episode where it was like, they're not giving me nothing, to just like overall just like bad energy. And what I will mention is I hate flying, right? I fly all the time. Clearly I'm in Jamaica, but I literally have to pray my way up, pray my way down, turbulence. I'm squeezing whoever's next to me hand. I don't care who you are. Like that is literally me. And if I had my man looking at me crazy because I'm afraid to fly, and his response is, if I'm not married to you and I didn't know, if I would have known that you was going to act like this on the plane, I would basically pass on you. I'm like, sir, you're like a Krabby Patty. Like he is just like an overall, just like Krabby Patty. And I do think, you have to sign up for this stuff way in advance. I don't know when his friend passed and when that happened, because they be locked in. How you say, Kojo, locked in, loaded. They be locked in. And they can't get out. But he just seems depressed, rude. And I 100% agree that it's not on Brett to be trying to break down a man's walls. We're not in the business of breaking down a man's walls. Honestly, if I was a man, I wouldn't want to be spending my time breaking down a woman's walls for too long. So I'm definitely not breaking down a man's walls. Like you need to come in broken down, not in a bad way, but come in open. Come in willing to like engage this process. Like this is not going to be like figure out Ryan time. I think that's what he wants, and no one got time for that. So
I totally hear that, Seaway. Thank you. Appreciate you. Locked and loaded. What's she saying, man?
Well, sounds like Seaway brought all the fire from Jamaica, huh? Wow. She ain't got no time, huh? You ain't got no time for none of that. I mean, listen, I could understand that. And I was on Maria's channel last night, and I just feel doubly vindicated tonight because I told y'all that red hair could go either one way or the other. And we had all the ladies saying, "Oh, it looks good to me," and all this, that, and the third, but it has to look good to him. Again, I'm not justifying or having a necessary opinion about it, but you see it comes up. So just like everybody says, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it's not beholden to him, obviously, because he's mentioned it several times, and now to her parents. Not something I would necessarily do. So I think that he seems very, very awkward. His energy, we've seen it. It's narcoleptic level sleepy. It's like you just want to take a nap as soon as he starts talking. Takes him a little while to get things out. Um, I'm still trying to figure this guy out. Now, I I mean, I guess I have a little bit of a different opinion from Seaway. Like, we get to develop in our relationships. And I think we got to give people a little grace in that there's certain things that certain people can bring out of another person. And yes, do we expect somebody to come fully developed? Sure. But there's certain things during the course of that relationship that your partner can bring out of you. So that's what I was hearing more than anything, that Brett could potentially do that for Ryan. So I don't know. I'm still a little, the verdict's not out. If there's a real connection with those two, and will they be able to bridge the gap? I think Brett is also very much in her head. You also see that she is very strong, and I see that in a couple different couples. And for me, the one kind of like red flag that went off, especially going into something like Married at First Sight, for people to be so fixed in their positions when they enter into the situation and no openness or willingness to change or to hear somebody else's perspective, for me, that presents a problem because you're marrying somebody and getting to know them all at the same time. And to have so many absolutes. So whether it's Myrla, whether it's, Brett saying, I'm going to be my authentic self and I'm going to be just who I am and he needs to accept me and all that whole rant that she gave. We get it, sis. You're strong, but like, just take it easy. Give him a chance to get to know you and all of that complexity before you just come in like a locomotive. Like, this is who I am. Accept me, love me. Like, relax. Like, you guys haven't even gotten a chance to date and get past all of that stuff. Let him unpack you. You unpack him. Take your time. Like, don't. It's you have all those unrealistic expectations, and to me, I think that's sometimes why marriages end, relationships end prematurely, because we just have a fixed idea of what we expect and we just expect that person to just fall in line, right? But that's not life. That's not real life. It's more nuanced. It's more subtle than that. And I just would love to see people, especially going on a challenge like this, embracing it. And that's an issue I see with Brett for sure. She seems very closed to doing anything differently than the way she's doing it.
Definitely hear you as well. I wish I kind of probably put more focus on them when I was watching the show, but I think what I picked up from them two was mainly from Ryan, just because obviously you can see it physically. But I remember a scripture in the Bible, right? Isaac, his mother dies, and then he gets a wife, right? And from that moment onwards, she consoles him, and then they get on happy ever after. Well, you know what I'm saying, right? But okay, so look, Ryan's going through a situation where someone's passed away, right? But he does not look anywhere near ecstatic being around Brett. I'm generally saying, listen, a good-looking woman to you can lift your spirit even in the darkest of moments. Just this is fresh. This is not even like you've met her for 10 years. I'm talking about you meeting someone fresh. Someone's coming into your life. You've never met them before. You know what I'm saying? That excitement of seeing someone fresh and exciting even makes you put the feelings that you have, that you're feeling even down, aside until maybe you're on your own, and then you kind of process what's going on. But when in the midst of that person that you're with, you know, you feel a little bit excited, a little bit jumpy. You know what I'm saying? You're excited by being around this new, fresh breath of wind who you're attracted to. I am not seeing that from him at all. Now, he may be getting a bad edit. Okay? I'm going to leave that open. He may be getting a bad edit. All right? But he reminds me a little bit of Henry in terms of the awkwardness. Just in terms of the awkwardness. Not the same, but just in terms of the awkwardness and the way that, you know, in terms of the fact that the way they shoot him, right? Every time they shoot him, he's being awkward, right? But not as awkward as Henry, but he's being awkward in terms of his emotional downturn. Your facial expression can't smile. You're not bringing any light to the room. And then you go in front of the parents and say to the parents, you know, redheads, either it becomes hot or it's cold. Like, what? You know what? I would love to say that, you know what, this was just a slip of the tongue, but I really do believe like this is probably what he does. He says stuff like this, right? Says stuff like this. I think this is why his parents thought he would never get married. You know what I mean? As well as obviously dating bimbos, but I shouldn't say that. That's quite rude. It's him dating people that seemingly weren't having much substance. Do you know what I mean? Right? So you can see, if you just look at him and his sister, their facial expressions are completely different in terms of, like I said, he looks like he's been worn and torn down. And the sister looks like she's got some jovialness, some happiness about her. So evidently something's affecting him. And I want to say this. If the experts knew that his friend died before he got on to being on the show and they still cast him, they have done not only him a disservice, but have also done Brett a disservice. And in fact, that mentally, it's not good stewardship for mental health. He should not be on the show. If his friend died and they knew about it, him passing, and he got onto the show, this should have never been something that came. But I'm not sure how long ago it was. That's the thing. Cause we don't know the exact date or whatever. If it was a year ago and he's still feeling effects, we might have to ask some questions, because the energy that he's bringing to the table at the moment seems to be very, very low. But go for it, Ray. You want to say? Okay, see where it's going.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that Sean is being too nice. I don't know why Sean is being so nice today. He's being way too nice. And I understand that we kind of might be on the same page, but he's being too nice. And I'm going to stand 10 toes deep in this. There's something suspect about that guy. Something suspect. And he's not being totally forthright. He's not being totally honest. And he may, in the end, not break Brett's heart, but Brett is gonna get heartbroken from this situation. He's not being honest. There's something mad shady with this Ryan dude.
See, we go for it. Thank you, Ray.
I was gonna say the other thing that really stood out to me about Ryan was the fact that when they asked him, did he have any questions about Brett, he said no. And that was my biggest red flag. Like, I understand, like, some people are awkward on camera, and sometimes, like me, I'm one of those type of people where you got to grow on me. You really do. So people were judging me, you know, from day one on this show. I could be a different person at episode 6, because I'm one of those people you have to grow, you have to grow on me. So I wouldn't judge someone for being necessarily awkward per se, but he seems very just disinterested in her. And I do agree. It doesn't matter whether I think Brett is pretty. I think she's super pretty, but I'm a girl and
she's pretty enough.
Yeah, pretty. I think she's striking to me, but my opinion doesn't matter. It really is about what he feels. But with him, I can't tell if he's disinterested because she's not his typical, let's say he dates blonde chicks or whatever, or he's just a depressed person that's just not interested about anything. And I think that, to Ray's point, we're going to have to wait and see what his actual deal is. If this is like Brett specific, or if this is just like Ryan is just like very empty and dry. But what I'm seeing is more than awkwardness. I'm seeing disinterest. He's very disinterested. He was very mean the way he talked about her on that plane. Personally, I just felt like that was like very mean. And he just seems like, over it. And I think it's only going to get kind of worse from here unless something drastically changes. But I think they did Brett kind of bogus matching her with Ryan, because Ryan just seems like he don't care. He don't really want to be there. So it's kind of where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure,
He threw her
yeah.
away too quickly, Kojo. He threw her away way too quickly. If I was on a first date with her, she wouldn't get a second date. That's whack. I'm with Seaway on that. Mad whack.
Is it really the red hair? Is the red hair that much of a problem? I don't think I've.
I don't
I
know.
just think that's just something to
trying to
say.
think as a man.
That's just something to say. He's just saying it because it's different. I feel like he don't know what to say. I'm not a man.
I'm
Let me know.
gonna have to interrupt you, Seaway. Don't and pull out a Dr. Nicole riddle. Don't paint the canvas for Ryan, okay? He said red hair, and that she's not his type. Don't paint the canvas and fill it in with your own, your own narrative. That's what the man said. Now, again, let's talk about what's the real truth of the matter is the fact that there seems to be something substantially wrong with him. And we can't put our finger on what that is. And I think we're trying to do that too, is like, is it the grief, or is it just who he is? And what did his family say? That he is extremely introverted. And then he kind of came up with that half defense when he revisited that conversation with Brett. And he was like, but we're getting to know each other, right? How are things going with us? And, she kind of supported him in the narrative. So I don't know about these two. I think it seems like they're both in their head in two different types of ways, and they're over processing the experience. I think we see extremes in the various couples, right? Because you see Zach and Michaela, they are in the moment. They are feeling all the feelings, and they're not necessarily doing as much time processing and working through some of the components of their relationship. So I think, I don't know, maybe Ryan's just not feeling her, or maybe he's just very awkward mixed with some grief, and he doesn't know how to fill out the situation. But we've seen some awkward moments with him, whether it was when he was taking her dress off and he made that comment about, oh, if your butt cheek pops out, or whatever he said, that was just weird and awkward. And she just looked at him and just was kind of like, all right, buddy. So he's definitely not giving off player vibes or any type of suave vibes. I don't know. And Ray is bringing out her crochet blanket, so she is not happy with the situation at hand. So I'm gonna stop right there. I see the blanket. That's my cue to. I'm gonna stop talking. she's channeling Zach right now.
It's true, Sean. It's true.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you, and do you know what? I think we're all trying to do. We're all trying to put the. We're trying to figure out what the X is in the equation, honestly, because it's like things are just, we haven't got enough information to make it stick right now, and it could be a few possible factors, in terms of what's happening, whether it's just him not being attracted to her, whether it's just this is him normally, whether it's the pressure that's kicking off. It's hard to tell right now. We're so early doors, and we haven't had much info watching them. And also, when I watch them, I don't get much from them. So it's like the conversation. I don't. That's why I said I don't know if it's an edit or what. They were talking for us, and it reminds me of Haley and Jacob all over again. It's like they were talking for about a second or two, and then it goes to an awkward cut, right? And it goes to an awkward cut, and it goes to an awkward cut, and I'm like, okay, this could be the editing. But they just generally could have some really awkward conversations where it's not really flowing. So it's hard to kind of get them on camera flowing. So I don't know. And I hear you on that, Sean, as well. He definitely did try to defend himself because a friend had told her that she needs to be pulling out of him. And she was like, hold on a minute. I ain't going to be out here pulling out anything out of anybody. Mm-hmm. And I actually kind of agree with her. I don't need to be dragging you. There's a difference of me being able to tease something out of you and then having to drag something out of you when I don't even know you. You should have come prepared in some shape or form that there is some openness there. So yeah, we do not want to have to drag the real Ryan out this should be teased out. But if she's gonna have to drag him out, it's gonna be a problem because she's gonna get tired trying to do that over and over again. But he said it's not gonna have to be the case. But this reminds me, like I said, I think Henry and Christina had the exact same conversation about bringing out the person's thingy, whatever. And the point is this: if they're not that way now, they ain't gonna be that way. You putting it out. Most times they're not gonna be any different than what they are now. Do you know what I mean? But I'm tired of even talking to them. I don't know what else to say about them. I don't know. There's not enough information, so I don't know what else to say about them. Anyone else want to add on before we talk about them or someone else? No? Sure, you good? All right, cool. Let's talk about someone else. All right, cool. We got Rachel and Jose. I want to brush your teeth for you, baby. But I don't know. I took it as a joke, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he said it as a joke. But what was your guys' thoughts on Rachel and is it Jose or Jose? I always forget. Jose.
Please, you see the controversy in the comments, Kojo?
Someone was like, you know how black people get when they get their names wrong. How are you gonna get his name wrong? I was like, God damn, like yo,
yes.
I'm coming from overseas, baby. J and H, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
they're not having it. They're not having it, Coach.
They're not buying it, bro. They're not buying it, man.
For the H.
I get everybody's name wrong. All right, Jose and Rachel. What's your guys' thoughts? Seaway, go for it.
I want to hear y'all thoughts because I'm kind of all over the place with them. I like them though right now. I like them right now.
Cool. I kind of like them as well a little bit. I'm waiting for the madness, but I hear you. Ray?
I like Jose and I like Rachel. But he wore me out too with that whole brushing of your teeth. And then she asked him a second time around. So I don't think he was joking. He was like, yeah, I need to brush your teeth. And this just goes back to the whole concept of control with Jose. And Rachel, who has lost a lot of weight, I've always said she's coming, even though she may come off very strong and very, together, she's in a fragile state. So, she may be big and bad in the beginning, but this will wear on her. And if he's controlling and he's on top of her finances and he's on top of all her stuff, this is going to wear her out. Now, what did you guys think about the whole thing? They were saying that she's nasty. Her car is nasty. Do you think her house is nasty too?
She probably just regular, like that regular working woman. Not super neat. That's what I took from it.
Regular, smuggler.
Every woman's car is a mess.
Not my car. Well, I don't have a car, but when I had one, my car was not a mess.
You would be the exception. I think women's cars are known for being a hot mess. So that's like a stereotype.
Shoes everywhere, you got your shoes and everywhere, your heels are there and there. You know what I'm saying? The last boyfriend's back on Chris is on the floor. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Go for it. Go on, Ray.
I never heard that, but educate me, please, Seaway. Educate me. I never heard that before.
No, that's maybe is that the New Yorker part of you? I don't know. Most of the time when women have cars, men always got to come in and be like, "What the hell is going on in your car?" This is.
I do actually agree that from what I've seen, I'm just
I think they were just saying that she focused so much on her education, and that was kind of her focus that she kind of slipped on the Susie Homemaker vibe. I don't think they were trying to call her like nasty. I think they were just trying to say like, hey, if you're looking for like what Sean won out here, if you're looking for somebody who's gonna be neat, we may need a house cleaner.
And what about Seaway? What do you think about the whole mental notes the family was saying that she made, like mental notes? Were they trying to make that into a negative or a positive? Because she explodes by holding in. Like, for me, they were all over the place too. I'm all over the place with Jose and Rachel. I don't know.
Yeah, they did her dirty, the family, innit?
Yeah, some of these families did them dirty. I was like, ugh. Production was like, make sure you tell them all the negative stuff. Yeah. Don't say anything positive.
I don't know. I felt like her family was actually doing what you're supposed to do. Not what families normally do, like Zach's family, who literally is like complete enablers, but we'll get to that later. But I think Rachel's family was actually giving good, tidbits. Like, hey, she makes a lot of mental notes of things and will carry the bone later. I feel like people who carry bones or people who kind of like look like they're okay and they're not. That's a really good thing to know because that's something he can look for. The messy thing, I think they were also trying to say like, hey, if you're really big on like a neat house and home and that's your idea of a wife, like she may be able to step up there, but that's not really where she's at. So I thought that was like kind of helpful information. What I will say about them is I think they're both kind of putting their representatives. Definitely with Jose, we're not getting his real person. I think the real Jose is crazy as hell. And y'all can mark it right now. The real Jose is crazy. I'm letting y'all know that. I'm not saying clinically crazy, but he's a fool. I've been saying that anybody who got that whole whiteboard doing everything he's doing, he's gonna be a hot mess. I think I'm gonna really enjoy him, but he's a trip. I think Rachel, we're still getting her representative, but I think it's closer to who she actually is. I think she's being I think she's coming off really strong right now and trying to keep up that front. I do think she does probably struggle with that weakness aspect, and I think she's just trying to like hold on strong. I think the real Rachel is going to have a problem with the real Jose, but right now they're doing good. And I think that money situation is going to be another thing because anybody like him who doesn't play about his funds, about his coins, is not going to want to be dealing with a woman just playing with his money. So I can see that being an issue. But the representatives right now are doing good, for sure.
I'm hearing you, see where I'm hearing you on that. Yep, I definitely hear that as well.
And Sean, don't get me.
I hear you. Sean, what are you saying? Lots of load, what are you saying, bro?
So a couple of things. Kojo, I wouldn't call it smoke, but maybe just like a little puff of smoke for, a comment you mentioned. So I just want us to keep that same energy when we get to Bow about people coming fully ready and prepared and us not needing to get them anywhere. But we can, I just wanted to, you put like a footnote, when you write in that paper, I just wanted to put a footnote there. So back to Jose and Rachel. Absolutely. Seaway, we are on the same page. There's a lot going on there. The brushing your teeth moment was very weird. One of the things I think that he does, and I don't know if we talked about, I've had so many conversations about this particular topic lately, so I've talked about it in several ways, but the love bombing that he does, right? He does that love bombing, and it's almost like he just lays it on so thick that you could just kind of get lost in what he's saying. And it's almost an attempt to sometimes disarm. I don't know if he's trying to disarm Rachel or a woman with all this positive information that's really just, it's kind of fluff from what I see. And then it's like the next step, he's like, I want to brush your teeth. Like, bro, relax. And again, some people might see it as playful, depending on the vibe, depending on the moment, maybe if there's a little more context to the relationship. But, she went up in arms and she was like, I'm a fully grown person. I don't need you brushing my teeth. Right. So he just kind of chuckled, laughed it off. But I definitely think there's some weird vibes going on. And I'm not surprised that this is his first foray into marriage, right? Through Married at First Sight, because you wouldn't typically do that with somebody you're meeting for the first time or you've only known them for a few days. Just a little weird. I think we cleared it up because initially we weren't sure if he wanted to use his toothbrush because he was so gung-ho on this electric toothbrush and whatever, silliness. The last thing that I would say about Rachel, and this is something I made sure I took notes about, and literal notes, because I know she takes mental notes. I think that is a problem waiting to happen, because how she prefaced it when she does it, she says, I take mental notes of things and then I address the things, little or small, little or big, and I address them because I think it's better to address things right up front and then letting them fester. Look, For anybody that's been married, been in a long-term relationship, you know that person is going to do things that are going to aggravate you. If you're making a mental note of everything that they do, whether it's turning the music loud, or the way they chew their food, or if they snore, and if by the end of 2 weeks you got a page of mental notes and you think you're going to literally address all of those, that's an unrealistic expectations. So I say that to say, you got to choose and pick your battles if you want your marriage to be successful. If you want your relationship to be successful, pick things that are deal breakers. Pick things that are make it or break it for you. Because if you walk around with this checklist of, okay, that doesn't work, and I don't like when you do that, and I don't like when you do this, and this makes me uncomfortable, by the end of the day, you've whittled away at the person, and nobody's going to live up to that expectation. So I just would hope that she looks at that from a different perspective. Definitely, if somebody does something that really significantly bothers you, address it. But sometimes you need to sit with it for a little while, listen to what the person really said before you just start lining it up and saying, okay, we need to talk about this and we got to talk about that.
Definitely hearing you, bro. Definitely hear you on that. I think also, so I actually took her comment. I took the family's comment as that she loads, like you were saying, a bit similar to what you're saying, Sean. That, but I saw it as she loads up, and then it comes all out as the Dragon Ra, right? And that speaks to somebody who also, I think, if you look at her history in terms of her, because that's what I thought she was in the beginning. I thought, okay, her history of in terms of not being able to set good boundaries, molding herself to former partners, getting lost in the man that she's been previously, that screamed out to me a bit of this people pleasing aspect, right? And one of the things about people pleasers is that they can't tell you how they feel at the jump. They don't know, they don't want to upset the boat, but what they do is they stock up. And what happens is it stocks up, and then it all comes out in one whole go, and that's a Dragon Ra that we see, right? So I think that's what the friend was kind of saying to him, like she mental notes it, because what's going to happen is it's not going to be addressed today. It could come back to you in 3 weeks' time, right? She's going to address this in 3 weeks' time, and it's going to come with some other footnotes as well about you didn't do X, you didn't do Y, you didn't do Z, and then it comes on this pylon like, whoa, where did this come from? And that comes from the fact that she doesn't address things in the beginning, which she did say, I think in the first episode, second episode, that she is working on getting better at doing, that she's not doing that whole dump on someone in one whole go. She's working on it. But, we don't know, like I said, under pressure, where you're having to put this into practice, and you might not be an expert at doing it just yet, you may revert back to your natural tendency, and revert back to being, I'll load it up, and then I'll launch it again. Especially, I guess I'm being very cautious with Jose in terms of the fact that I actually took the toothbrush thing as a joke, but then I said there could be another aspect. This could be the beginning of the very dangerous hill of nitpicking to break her down. Right? Because I took it as a joke, and I said I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm being very conscious that this could literally be the beginning slope of someone who begins to nitpick to break you down. Especially as he suffered this before. People who have suffered this before tend to find people who similarly do the same thing. Whether you call it fate, whether you call it the world, or whatever you want to call it as, people tend to find the same people over and over and over again until you've learned that lesson, and you avoid these people in total. But if she hasn't fully learned this lesson and how to stand up for herself without creating the mad fracas, but setting a good boundary, that comment was a joke, but it could easily be going down that hill, because we've already heard him say about, I get what I want. That was what he said in the last episode. I get what I want. What I want, I get it. Right? Now we've got the toothbrush episode, right? We already know that obviously when it comes to finances, how he feels about finances, right? This could easily lead down the road of control. And she could find herself being lost if she doesn't set up good boundaries from the very jump, right? So, yeah, I'm going to take it as a light. I'm not going to take it as anything too heavy, but my eye is on you. You know what I'm saying, Jose? My eye is on you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. You want to say something, Ray? Go for it.
Yeah, relationships will gauge your temperature. right? A lot of us are like, yeah, you know, I had that experience. Yeah, I've improved in that. Yeah, I've grown in that. Until you have the actual, hi, Chris. Hi. As soon as you have that experience where you're actually in it and you're actually going through what you know, yeah, when I get a husband, I'm going to be boop, 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 boop. You see what I'm saying? And until you get in it and you realize what it's really like and your temperature is gauged, your temperature is taken, you can't really know how far you've grown. You can't really know how far you've come. And this is some real dangerous territory. And I'm so with you on it because remember, he's the one who said that his wife has to come with 50% of the finances, even if she don't make as much as him. So who's worse, him or Myrla? Although I don't think Myrla has that same stance. I haven't seen that as yet. But he said it. He's making all this money and she got to come and pay 50% no matter what she brings to the table. He is, I don't know. I have to see how this continues, but she'll be in for a rude awakening, I think. Let's see. I could be wrong.
Yeah, she could be. I'm gonna let Chris hit this. And just one last thing, just because I just remembered it as it came to my head. So when people are listed in control as well, one of the things they do also is to break boundaries with you. So like physical boundaries. So that's what I'm saying. I'm taking it as a joke, but this is also one of the ways as well to tie you up. Like, because I want to brush your teeth is now part of, I am going to do this. I'm going to do this for you. Almost, it's to start breaking those boundaries. Right, so you say yes to this, it won't be the only thing you're saying yes to if this is where he's going, right? It won't be the only thing he's saying yes to. The next thing will be your clothes. The next thing will be when can you go out, But it starts really, really small, and it's like, before you know it, it tumbles down the road. But when he said that, that's what came to my head. I was like, okay, he's trying to be, if he is being manipulative or he's going towards there, that brush of the teeth thing is going, it's a part of breaking her boundaries and testing to see where you're at this moment. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I was a little bit, as I said, I'm gonna give it a benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Chris, what do you want to say? Go for it.
Hi, everyone. So we're talking about Jose, right?
Yeah.
I'm giving Jose the biggest side eye. I think he's so weird. I think he's so weird. My teeth, really, sir? Like, really? That's what we doing? Like, that's, come on, seriously? I'm an adult. Like, it's not funny. It's not cute. Super weird. I agree with you guys. I remember who said that he was love bombing. I agree with that. Even when he sat down with Rachel's family, it was like, she's amazing. She's this and she's, I was like, calm down. It hasn't even been a whole 24 hours, and it's like, it was as if he knew her already, right? Like, she's all of these things. She's perfect. She's this, she's that. And his little bubble is about to be burst when he realized that she is another human being, just like him, a normal person who has normal feelings, who may not agree with him, who may not want the things that he wants all the time. So it's interesting. I want to see how that plays out, because even when, I guess the topic of arguments came up a little bit, I was looking at Rachel's face, and I would like to see how that works for her, because she looked concerned when arguments came up when they were in the bed. And he said that we're not always going to be on the same page or something like that. She looked concerned. So I would like to see how she handles herself when he tries to like out-talk her, try to get her on his side, try to be manipulative. I think we'll be seeing more of that in upcoming episodes. Regarding her mental notes, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I don't think when her family brought it up, it didn't seem like they were bringing it up in a positive way. So it sounded like they brought it up like that's a negative. So I don't know if that meant her mental notes mean she holds grudges, or like, I'm not really sure what that means completely. So I would have to kind of see that play out. But yeah, Jose, I don't know. I'm just giving him the side eye.
Totally hear you, Chris.
Just giving him the side eye. He's just coming off really, really weird.
Totally hear you, Chris. Appreciate it. Thank you for that. Okay, cool. Any more additions to Jose and Rach? Any more? Someone did make a comment. Sorry, I missed it. I don't know if I can find it. About her throwing away the condoms and saying you're not needing that. And I was like, girl, we are only a few days in. you're about to contribute to your. If this goes downfall, you're contributing towards downfall. You'll be pregnant and with someone who could be potentially could be going off the rails. Sis, you ain't helping yourself. And I think this is what I'm talking about. Rachel, has she fully learned? This, like, the excitement and the speed. It's like, sis, if you've been through traumatic, or should we say, toxic relationships, right? That speed is what's got to change, right? Even if you are married, and even if you trust the experts, you've seen 12 cycles of this show, okay? There ain't no perfect couples most times, okay? And you could be one of those couples they decided to experiment on, okay? So you can't rush into this thing. And I think that's what's concerning me, that this is that perfect storm, because if he has got that controlling behavior, she's perfect for him because she's also willing to play her part. Because whenever you deal with, I'm not saying this that he is, but whenever you deal with a narcissist, there's always an enabler. The partner is actually an enabler. So the person actually isn't free from any responsibility. Yes, unfortunately, you've encountered a narcissist, but you're actually not free because you've played a part in it. So when it comes to these particular things, like when I'm seeing Rachel, I'm like, Rachel, please, I need you to slow the heck down, okay? You want to focus on trying to get to know him? Fantastic, all right? Maybe the honeymoon might not be the best place to start throwing away condoms and stuff like that just yet. Let's chill. Let's get to know this man first, okay? If the brother just said he wants to brush your teeth and you know what I mean, stuff like that. Let's chill and let's get to know this person a little bit and actually understand where they come from, especially if you're coming from a background where you've experienced stuff that's not been great. I would expect more caution. And when I say caution, it does not mean withdraw. What it means is the way you move. It's a bit more measured. You don't throw your heart in there straight away. All this, we're perfect and this and that. And I'm like, we don't know yet, man. Let's chill. Let's go with it and let's move with it. But let's also be, I wouldn't say calculated, but let's just be conscious about how we place our heart on the line so early without really getting to know who the person is in front of. But I know she has said it. She wants to get to know him more and stuff like that. It was just the condoms kind of threw me off. I don't know anyone else thought about anything about the condoms that she threw to the side. Anyone else thought? Anything that came to their mind? Oh, so you're just going to be silent. You just saw the condoms get thrown around. Nobody said anything.
No, I just...
You saw the condoms
I just want to say... No, Coach Joe, regarding the condoms, I just want to say, nothing wrong with being horny, okay? But I'm going to need you to have some common sense, even in the midst of your horniness. Okay. Is that a word? I don't know, but I just made it up if it's not. But what I'm saying is, you want to have sex, go for it. Go for it, sis. Knock yourself out. However, don't completely lose all of your marbles. I mean, my goodness, like, what if he is crazy, as we are seeing, right? And also, too, like, there's, you have to wait your 8 weeks. You have to see if this is something you want to continue with. I think she wants this to work. I think yes, I'm agreeing with this comment. There's a level of, her being impulsive. But you got to be careful. Definitely got to be careful, because we know his pullout game could be trash, right? And then she's in trouble. So we got to be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Can I interject real quick, Coach? So, and this is just, a guess, right? But maybe they're giving out, STD tests with the COVID tests, before the couples get together. Maybe that's a part of the process, because that might be embarrassing on the franchise if somebody walked away with, an STD. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that. And then maybe she's on birth control. So she's like, listen, it's my husband. We done did the good STD test. I want to feel all the feels. I don't know, maybe she missed it in her mental note. I don't know, but I would think that maybe that was a part of it, and they just chose to capture that moment. But I would think that there was something a little bit more behind that.
Totally hear that. That's a good perspective too. I hear that. Kind of not the mental note. All right, cool. I'm hearing that. Good points. Anyone else want to add? Anyone else? That was it. Go for it, Ray. Sorry, I almost.
And some women are allergic to condoms too.
That's true.
So you just don't know what her reasons are and why she did that. But yeah, I don't know. Even if that is your husband, you should give it some time before you jump in and decide you want to have a baby with someone.
because having a baby is no joke. And even if you guys separate, you still gonna have to be dealing with this dude or this chickie forever because of this baby. So I would slow the roll. Even with the birth control, I'd be using the condoms. And you know what Shorty's saying is correct. When you go into these shows, they do blood tests, they do psychological tests, they do they look into your taxes, they do fingerprints, they do a major background check on you. So the people coming into this situation are normally squeaky clean. So yeah, why not? She's probably like, off to the races, let's go. I don't know, kind of suspect, but that's what she was doing.
Yeah, technically, I mean, someone put a comment out. I remember actually her saying that she said she did say she can't get pregnant that way. So maybe she's trying to do a honeymoon baby. Maybe she wants a honeymoon baby. Who knows? You know what I mean? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Fair enough. Oh, someone said on Unfiltered, he said he thinks she's on contraceptives. That's why she reacted that way. Okay, that's also another perspective as well. Cool. All right. All right, cool. So, let's move on to another couple. Let's move on to Bao and Johnny. Bao and Johnny. We want to get you guys' thoughts on Bao and Johnny. Bao, chicka, wow, wow. See where you want to go, yeah? Oh,
I just want to say, y'all were being so dramatic last week about the body pillow. And that Bao don't want to touch Johnny, and she has issues. And now this episode, they're touching, they're vibing, they're cuddling. It's all good vibes. So it literally just took one episode, and they were so cute. I just want to say that.
I mean, technically, it actually didn't change. The bed situation didn't change. The touch outside was what happened, but the bed situation didn't change. She almost regulated him to outside. I'm just saying.
I didn't see no body pillow. I was looking for the body pillow. I didn't see it.
I know the body pillow wasn't there, but she almost regulated him to the outside. Now I'm just saying. She was like, "You really gonna sleep in this bed?"
I thought it was better. I'm just saying. I'm seeing improvement already.
Nah, love you. I appreciate you. Sean is looking like he about to be locked and loaded. What are you saying?
I'm saying, like, what are we measuring here? You know, these folks are married. You know, we're measuring incremental success. I have more intimacy with the person that takes out the garbage in my building than Bao has with Johnny. Like, at the end of the day, are you kidding me? We're celebrating her little wet noodle hand holding that she was doing with him while he was, you know, her whack attempts of consoling him while he was talking about his the things going on with his dad and how he's heard about that, you know, and I'll give her that. She showed a little empathy when she said she's going to win his mom over, but she is dry. She's dry. And if we gonna sit up here and put her on a pedestal and say, let's celebrate her, they're gonna be great. No, I want the same smoke you got for everybody else. We're gonna keep that same energy. Why we gotta wait 2 episodes for her to touch his finger? Like, where are we setting the bar at? The bar is on the floor, folks. And when we lift it up 2 inches, we want to celebrate? Come on. I was told implicitly, don't pull out my caps. So I listen to rules, but I call cap, and for me, I'm just dying on the inside. You know, it could not be for me, and this is why I know I am not the maths candidate. It's not going to work for me because I get married. I want my wife and I to have an experience. I want us to have a good time. All these constrictions and body pillows and don't touch this and let's wait. It's not for me. And I just don't have the patience. Hence, I wouldn't put myself in that position. And a lot of these people, I don't know why they're putting themselves in this position because they're coming with the wrong idea, you know? And Bao is bringing up text messages from 20 years ago, pulling receipts of supposedly when she was ghosted. Where's this going? Like, what are we doing with this conversation? You're married now. He likes you now. can we just move forward? Like, what we talking about? What happened 20 years ago? And let's see. And you ghosted me, and we're friends. You're married now, okay? Let's fast forward. We gotta pick up the pace here, Bao. I'm dying. That's it.
Cheers, locked and loaded. Do you want to respond to that, Seaway?
I'm Team Bao. I'm not even. I hear everything Sean's saying. He got a point, but I gotta stand up for the girls who take a little time to open up. Okay, like there's somebody out there for everybody. There's a lot of Baos out here who just a little bit more closed. They take their time a little more. Not everyone is touchy feely. Like Michaela, or ready to throw out the condoms like Rachel. Not everyone's doing that. She's just a little bit more guarded. And I relate to that. So, and I'm gonna give her props because I feel like this whole process is probably a reach for Bao. And I think she's doing well. She's being open. And the way she handled the situation with his dad, I think was phenomenal. I think she asked the important questions, the questions that people who are showing their representatives are not even asking. She saw there was an issue. She asked the question. She's showing long-term goals here. She's showing like, hey, you have daddy issues. Let me work on that. Not like, hey, I'm gonna rub on your belly real quick to make you feel good. Like she's trying to be a wife right now. And the way she handled that situation with his dad and trying to be there for him and really dive deep was giving me wife vibes. Not I'm here for a short time, not a long time vibes. So I'm gonna give her props because I think she's doing better. I know a lot of men and in the comments and women would say they would do better than her. Maybe they would, but sometimes it takes people a little bit more time. So I'm gonna compliment that. And I like Bao. I relate to Bao. I'm gonna tell you, maybe I'm biased. That's fine, but I like Bao. She's dry as hell and it cracks me up.
I hear that. Chris, what are you saying?
I actually, I want them to work. I hope they do. I am happy with the progress about the body pillow. However, I do want her to be a little bit more lovey-dovey, only because I'm that girl. So maybe that's like me being biased. I am that girl. I'm touchy-feely. And so to me, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, other women who aren't, right? Because we're not the same. But I want to see a little bit more. I didn't see the point of the text message from however many years ago, maybe 10 or so. I don't know if it was supposed to be a joke or she was trying to prove that he was someone who just ghosted her. I'm not sure. But I just didn't see the point. But she keeps receipts. But I definitely, I want them to progress. I really, really do. So I hope that Bao can really start to like slowly let her guard down. I'm not saying, everything day one, but this is still the beginning, but that she can really start to kind of let her guard down with her husband. Cause I really want to see them progress. I think it's really good having this couple on, having couples with the whole culturally diverse and all that stuff on this season. I want to see them grow, and being that they have that background and that history, I think that it helps give them something to work with if they want to use that. So I want them to make it. So I want Bao to open up a little bit more.
Appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, I hear that. Ray, what are you saying? Which side are you falling on? Bound chicka wow wow. Oh, sorry, I've put you on. Go for it.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
I have no issue with Bao and how long she's taking, right? We all go at our own pace. We all don't walk the same. We all walk at a different rhythm. We speak, we move at a different rhythm. So I have no beef with Bao taking her time. I actually really, really like Johnny. He ghosted her, that was years ago. She kept saying, that really bothered me. But I really am enjoying Johnny. I thought I liked Zach, but I'm really, really liking Johnny. He is just he feels good all over. Not that I know how he feels, but watching the show, he makes me feel good all over. Now, what I want to know, Sean, where is your smoke, Sean? How come you not smoking him about all his tears like you were smoking Zach, Sean? What's up with that, Sean? Where is your smoke? Where is that smoke for the tears? I'll end on that.
Sean, do you want to respond to that and tell her
what tears is she talking about? I didn't see Johnny crying all over the place.
I saw when he was talking about his dad, he was emotional. Did I not
That's
see
a
it?
moment.
That's a moment.
See,
That's a
Ray,
loud
that's a
moment.
false equivalent. Don't do
that's
that.
Why is how is that a false equivalent? How is that a
Because
false equivalent?
I never said that a man cannot cry at all. What I said is when it's extreme and dramatic and you're crying all over the place and I can't rationalize the context, for me it appeared over the top. He was talking about his dad who harangued him and did not attend his wedding, and it seems like it's deep-seated issues that existed in his relationship with the father. And he said that, and he shed a tear. He was not rolling on the floor, jumping up and down,
Neither was Zach.
antics.
Zach was not rolling on the floor.
He was jumping up and down with his brothers, and they were in a cry-hug circle. It was weird and annoying. Different strokes for different folks, and people can disagree with me, and I take it on, but Johnny is different, and I can understand the moment why he cried about that, and I got it 100%.
Yeah, I understand Sean's perspective. This is my thing. Everyone has deep-seated issues, right? Everyone has an issue, and I just want us to be careful with, I don't want to say policing people's reactions, because I think that's a bit harsh, right? I think even for myself, I think it's a bit harsh. But just making sure that we give everyone the same grace. And to me, yes, Zach, his brothers were like, I love you. They were crying too. The father was crying, the mother was crying. I agree. I do get it. But it moved me. You see what I'm saying? Just as Johnny moved me. So I was just wondering in the chat, I gotta mess with, I gotta mess with Sean. Sean is my brother. I gotta mess with Sean. I gotta mess with Sean. But no. Yeah, no, I understand Sean's perspective. Absolutely. I don't agree with it 100%, but I totally get it.
I'm with you on that. I hear that. I mean, I could understand, when Johnny cried, I could understand it. I I felt myself tear up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
Yeah, saying, but I did that in my own private space. Okay, yeah, in my own private space. Okay, don't need to show it to everybody else. But no, I definitely hear that, and I think from what I see with Johnny and Bao, I think she is making some little bit of progress. But my thing is, like, again, brother, that comment that she made about the bed thing, like, it was, I don't know if she'd be joking with a straight face as she says this. It's similar to the pillow thing, right? It was the same kind of energy she brought the same way, right? That she, the other time it was a pillow, right? But divider, okay, the divider has been removed. So on day 2, I think the biggest issue that they're going to face is how long does she need and how long is he willing to wait? Because I know he said, oh, I don't mind, take your time. I was like, no, Johnny, don't lie to yourself. You aren't going to last that long because you're already putting pressure. He was like, she was like, look, I'm going to get there. You had a long, passionate kiss. And he was like, so what kind of sexual position? I'm like, bro, do you not just say that you're willing to wait, but you want to go into a sexual conversation? I'm just trying to get myself ready. I'm like, bro, but what you, bro, you just said that you're willing to wait. You want to relax. So Johnny likes the affection. He needs the affection. Not even that he needs the affection to feel wanted, to feel cared for, to feel desired, and all that stuff. He needs to have that from Bao. So if I don't know how long is he going to accept her giving him the bare minimums. Okay, now she did say they've had some passionate kisses off screen, right? But is that going to be enough for Johnny? No, he wants to hold hands. He wants to caress. He wants to hug you. He wants to be able to do all that kind of cute stuff that we see, you know what I'm saying, with your partner and be tactile with her. She's not allowing that right now. Can I see her doing that? I do. I think it will take a little bit I think it will take a while. I think her walls will need to come down. I think she'll need to feel absolutely safe 100% before she gets to that space. It's just whether he's going to be able to withstand and stay there until he gets to that point. I think it's slightly different to Ryan. I don't think he has to drag it out of Bao. I think Bao's is I will move when I feel emotionally safe in the space. When I feel like you're giving me 100% on an emotional scale and not just you want to touch me, then that's cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. This can't work for me. Okay, I'm like Sean. This can't work for me. I am a tactile person. I want to touch. I want you to touch me. I want to touch you. Okay, we want to be touched all over. Okay, so for me it wouldn't work. But
Kojo, how long would you wait?
I don't listen. First day I see you, cuz.
So you wouldn't even wait. You wouldn't even. So, Culture, wait a second.
I'm an energy person. Listen, like, yo, first day I see you, kid. Like, I should be able to flow with you, man. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so you want to be able to touch. You want to be able to touch, hold her hand, stroke.
Listen,
you know, you're not saying you want to have
Rub her
sex,
booty.
but you want to touch.
Yeah, it's not even just like, oh, I need to do this to you, but it's that you feel comfortable. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you just we naturally are flowing. Like, if I see you, I remember. Okay, so it's a funny story. I remember when I had one of my ex-girlfriends. Right, when we first met, I actually gave her the most Christian hug you can ever give somebody. I put my whole hip into her midriff. I was like, yeah. And she was like, why were you doing that? I was like, yeah, I don't want to give someone the wrong impression. You know, she was like, why? I was like, yeah, because, you know, we're Christians. I don't want to think that, you know, we're too. But listen, what was going behind my back of my mind, I would have done a different hug, but because I was trying to show that I'm Christian. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do that. But real spit, if I meet you first day, the energy should be vibing. I feel like the energy should be vibing. But this is a show where they don't know each other, so I do get that. I'm just saying, for me, it couldn't work for me in that regard. Like, I like that energy, I like that tactileness, I like that playfulness that we can have. Do you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be that when I touch your shoulder, you're like, huh, he's just touched me. Like, huh. No.
Culture,
I won't last long.
You're missing the nuance here. I think that's being missed. I think the thing is, it's even worse than them not knowing each other. She's not bringing up the text messages for no reason. She's bringing up these text messages basically saying, you know, like, you had the opportunity to talk to me. We had that connection and you ghosted me. So you really weren't feeling me like that. So I think we're Bao, unlike Karen from last season or 2 seasons, whatever it was, who I don't even feel like got the smoke she needed for just stringing Miles along until she felt good and ready. Who knows what her problem was. Bao doesn't really trust Johnny yet, and I don't think she should. Johnny seems like the type of person who gets what he needs from women. Because we keep talking about it from what Johnny needs. This whole conversation is from what Johnny needs. What about from what Bao needs? That's what we're not talking about. From what Johnny needs, Johnny needs someone to let him touch all over them, and then when he gets good and ready, he'll decide if after he done use you all up for all your good energy, he's gonna figure out if he wants you or not. Now you guys are married, so probably he's gonna have to stick with you. But if they weren't married, he would have did all this to Bao, and he would have been on to the next one, like he's been saying. So if I'm Bao, I'm just like you said, Rachel need to do. She need to ride the rage. She need to ease it up. She need to slow it down. She need to pump the brakes. Bao is actually doing what she needs to do. Give him a little bit, but he needs to show that this is not just for what he needs. Like, they both have to get what they need out of it. I think if she didn't know him and they didn't have that energy, maybe she would be able to be a little bit more free. Like, we have no type of rapport of you not really showing me the utmost interest. So let me be more free flowing. But I think
those are fair points, Ziwe. I did not think of it that way, that because she did bring up the text, that must have been something that was disturbing to her, which in a way could be her trying to explain to him. I think that's brilliant. I didn't put that together with the other concept. That's excellent. That's a fair point. But at the same time, she got to let that go too. That's years ago. She got to let it go. However, I didn't think about that. That's a great point.
I agree. That is a good point. But I also agree with Ray that it was a long time ago. Do you guys think the cameras have anything to do with anything, or not really? Do you think she'll be shy on camera in terms of being affectionate when she does decide to be more affectionate, or it's just about probably trust and her actually feeling comfortable? I don't know. She might be. I don't know if it might be culture, it might not. She might be private too. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, over time.
That's true. Would that work for Johnny though? I'm not talking about the sex part. I'm talking about just little. Because remember, this is not about. So what I'm talking about is not the full gong slow, right? I'm talking about when you're into someone and it's the little touches that you can do with someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you be sitting with your babes and your babes just put her hand on the back of your head stroking it. You can't do that about. You can't do that about. Not right now. You can't. Right? Because that's going to get... It does remind me of the Karen and the Miles situation, which did work out in the end. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I slaughtered her during the whole season. I ain't going to lie to you, because she was doing a whole of that stuff. But and I do get where Bao's coming from, so I'm not trying to go too deep. I'm just saying that the person that you're with also now is thinking he needs this now. So there's gonna be that clash eventually if this stays longer in the period of I'm still not there with you yet. So that could be where the clash is. I don't think she's wrong for doing it. I think she should take her time, but maybe I think she's awkward with this in general. I think this is an awkward thing for her in general, because there are normal social cues or touches that we have with each other, that I feel like we're not seeing per se with Bao and Johnny. You know what I'm saying? We're not seeing that kind of tactile closeness necessarily with them two just as yet. So I get where she's also coming from as well. So I'm not gonna be too hard on her yet. We're only on the honeymoon phase, but sis, we come off that honeymoon period and we'll have to ask some questions. And I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about touch. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about touch.
And too, Kojo, sometimes you have to understand too that some women don't have a lot of experience in relationships. They don't have a lot of experience with men. They don't have a lot of experience with touching. They don't have a lot of experience with being touched. A lot of women just don't have that experience. So maybe she's just, a novice at it.
Fair point. Okay, fair point. Sean, you locked and loaded. You want to say something? He ain't buying
I call cap again. We are in 2021. I have heard and have learned how women have agency over their bodies, that women can have sex the same way a man can have sex, right? It's not always an emotional experience for every woman. Women are able to have their fill in the blank phase, right? And we're cool with all of that. So women are much more sexually free. She might be on the exception end of the spectrum, but I don't think that's what it's about. It's about whatever has happened to her or part of her experience, that she is touch averse. Even her brother said, we don't hug, so there is some type of emotional wall that is there. And that is problematic, especially that's problematic in any relationship, because when you are marrying somebody and it's like you have to do the slow walk just to do the slight things. And I get it. So we're going to celebrate a hug and we're going to celebrate a touch of the hand. But this isn't his friend. This is his wife. Are you coming on this show emotionally available to be a wife? Or are we going to have to hope, wish, and pray as a strategy for you to be ready? And what does that do to your spouse? And it's the same way that you want Johnny to meet Bao's needs. And there's things that we want him to do. We are sussing him out. So now the texts are as a means to suss him out. What somebody was 10 years ago, the man I was 10 years ago and the man I am today are two very different people. So if you want to take a walk down memory lane with me and talk about something that I did 10 years ago, where are we going with that? Ask me about who I am, right? You want to bring a text in? Ask me about who I am. Don't pull a text receipt from 10 years ago, because that's not going to give you any context into the person that I am today. Because we all have the right to, change, and we do change and evolve, most of us. So I just think I need to see more from her. I'm holding those feet to the fire, and I want to see more from her. And I want to see more from him in terms of honesty, in terms of just being upfront, in terms of just being clear about what his needs are and what that expectation looks like, right? He's playing that like hopscotch, double dutch. He's in and he's out. Like, you're going to talk about sexual positions, but then you're going to say, I'm ready when you are. Right. And I'll wait however long it takes. No, you're not, because you're testing the waters, but you're doing it passive aggressively. Just say what you need and see if she's willing to give it to you, and then have that conversation to see how we're going to meet each other in the middle, or if it's not going to work at all.
Points. Bang, bang, bang. Hear that. Okay. Well, I hear that. Anyone else want to add on Bao and Johnny before we move on? No? Cool. I mean, I do actually see some good stuff. I hope they will work. I think they can work out. I think they can work those things out if there's some patience on both sides being issued, I think there's a good chance these guys could make it. You know what I mean? But if Johnny needs that physical touch and he's not being honest about how long he can wait, it may just blow the gasket by the time he realizes. So we'll have to wait and see. Wagwan. Okay, cool. Let's move on to now Zach and Michaela. Zach and Michaela. It was the it was the I don't shout and scream for me that really sent me off in this particular one, because she was saying, oh, you know, she doesn't necessarily, that's not how she argues, that's not how she fights, and yet we're seeing cut pictures of her potentially in the next weeks and so doing the very thing she says she doesn't do when she argues. But at least she gave us some good background that we can work with. She saw this with her parents, which is probably what makes her nonchalant in some of the things she does. She becomes numb, and she calls it nonchalant. It's not. She goes numb, and then she then disconnects emotionally from the relationship, and that's how some of the relationships have drifted off, right? So now he knows that he's gonna have to bring her back in. So that those reactions that are wild now kind of make a bit more sense. That's what she's seen, but also that's her way of connecting emotionally. It needs to be curbed. That's how I see it. It needs to be curbed. That's her trying to connect emotionally, but she doesn't know how to handle the extent of her emotion that she's feeling at that particular time. Probably because she hasn't seen how it should be handled by parents. So what was your kind of thoughts on Michaela and Zach as well, on the situation? What was your kind of thoughts, Ray?
I like Michaela. And I know a lot of people have a lot to say about the whole hurricane thing. I still don't know why she flipped out. I still don't know why we see her losing it. So I can't really speak on her behavior. But she really moved me when she talked about her parents and also the death of her dad. Like, just a Black woman coming up, like you see a lot of death and it's just traumatic. But like you said, what really stood out to me the most was the fact that her parents didn't set a good example for her. It's sort of like Smoke, how he said that growing up, he saw his grandparents in a very negative relationship, right? And a lot of people push marriage, but they don't realize that a lot of these marriages are negative, they're toxic, they're painful, and they're difficult to be in. Michaela, to me, has a lot of layers. She's complex. She's a sister girl, so automatically I'm quite biased in her favor. The same with Zach, I'm biased towards him. Did his parents say he was spoiled? Did I hear that come out of their mouths when they called him spoiled? That's a problem. That's a big problem. You guys know how much I love me some Zach. But if he's a spoiled dude, or dare I say a mama's boy, and then he got family members that are enabling him, this is major disaster. So you got a spoiled little brat, and then you have another spoiled little brat. One is passive aggressive in a way. One is aggressive in a way. We're going to have bombs and explosions. Maybe not. Maybe they'll be able to work it out, but I don't know. But when his mother said, or his father said that he was spoiled, that was a major, major, major red flag for me. But overall, I like these two. I like them.
I already know what Sean going to say. So I'm gonna let him hold off fire. Chris, go for it.
I'm worried about them. I'm worried about them because, like Ray said, they're both spoiled. And Michaela's the baby. I'm not sure if Zach's the baby or not, if youngest, but I know that Michaela is the youngest. And so with that, there's a level of, like you guys said, like we learned, disconnection, entitlement, stubbornness. Those are not tools for mature people in a marriage. And they're going to need tools in their toolbox for when things get hard, when they have a disagreement, when they don't see eye to eye. How are we going to tackle this? Is he going to shut down? Is she going to blow up? How are we going to handle this? And will every argument, will every misunderstanding, will every issue, right, will every challenge end up the same way? You know, it might make for good TV, but it won't make for a good marriage. And so that is my concern, is the communication. Yes, on the honeymoon phase, yes, we can have fun, be lovey-dovey, we can have sex, we can do all these things. But when it gets down to real life, we're at home, we're going through our day-to-day, we don't see eye to eye, how are we going to handle that? So I'm a little worried. I'm a lot worried, if I'm honest. I'm a lot worried right now. They're going to need tools. I hope the experts step in. I don't know if that'll be enough, but I really, they need tools, and I'm nervous that they don't have them. Yeah, so that makes me a little nervous for sure. And when Michaela's family was saying early on in the was saying that they have protected her, and now he's going to have to come along and kind of do that. I don't know if when they said protection, if that meant we coddle her, we let her get her way, we don't correct her when she's wrong, we don't hold her feet to the fire. It could have meant all of those things, because sometimes when you're the youngest, that happens. Not all the time, but sometimes. And so I think we're going to see some of that come out in future episodes. But I'm worried. I'm worried, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, totally hear you, Chris. Totally hear you. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Sean, what's your thoughts, man, on Zach and Michaela? I can see now why he's a bit emotional.
Yeah, I definitely do. I was happy to hear some more of the father's perspective when he sat down with Michaela. You know, I think he has allowed his sons to be overly overly coddled and spoiled by their mom. And I think he's just kind of taken a back seat and done one of those things like she is who she is. And that's why sometimes I get a little resistant, or I will give a pushback and give feedback when people say, well, she is who she is. Well, sometimes when we just let people be who they are and we don't give them feedback, or we don't share with them what's the damage of some of the things that they are potentially doing, things can go awry. And when you have a grown man who is over mothered, it is a problem. And then on the other hand, the woman who has to deal with that is now then stressed out because she's not seeing a full man because he was overmothered. But we get upset when we check these mothers, or we'll talk to a woman and say like, hey, you got to take a step back, and hey, these are certain things that you should lay off with your son. And if God willing, the father is present and there's certain areas you need to let that man lead when it comes to his son. And I see this play out, and he is super emotional, very sensitive, and his family has pretty much said that. We saw it, we thought it, but now his family said it, right? And then you even heard the mother pipe in, and she said a little something in defense, like, oh, he's just whatever. I think she said, oh, he's just a little particular, when the father was saying he's spoiled and he's coddled and he's a mama's boy. No, he's just particular. He just likes things. No, don't, you did the damage, ma'am. You did the damage. Now you need to step back. And then she's going in, right? She was there with her one eye up and one eye down while the father was talking. She closed that conversation with a hammer. She was like, I go based on what you do, not what you say. Which bears some merit, but that's all we have at this point, right? So she's talking to you. So why you have to go there so hard and so strong? Because I think she's picking up on vibes like, yeah, what are you talking about? And then I just think Michaela just comes off overly eager. And I don't know if this just because of her lack of experience with all of these situationships, that she doesn't understand that dynamic of how you interact with somebody's parents. It's important, and I think that's missing in modern times. We need to learn how to interact with each other's parents. A man, the same for the woman's parents, and a woman, the same with a man's parents, right? You've got to have a level of respect, a level of deference. And it's not you bowing down and kissing anybody's ring, but you want to just be conscious of who your audience is, right? Oh, he's gorgeous and he's gorgeous. She don't want to hear all of that. Nobody wants to hear all of that. You know, what did you learn? What have you seen so far? Oh, I'm just so happy. She's gorgeous. He's gorgeous. Okay, we get it. You know, you like what you see. But what are the real quality things? Lead with that, you know? And again, I think we talked about this at one point, but it was nice. The nice moment was around the dance when his father stepped in to dance with her in replace of her dad. So I think that was really nice. She did tell, I don't know, let's see, but it seemed like not even a white lie, a whole lie when she was like talking about how her parents argued and how she doesn't argue that way because everything we've heard, even from her siblings, she's a storm. She's Hurricane K when she gets worked up. So why she would tell that story to his parents and say that she takes her time and when she argues, she doesn't disrespect. That's not a hurricane. That don't sound like a hurricane to me. That sounds like a calm, even breezy day. And that's not how she's been described. So I got some smoke for that and her and how she's truly going to show up. And if she is being authentic and honest. And for Zach, he's saying all these things about who he is and he's a protector, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it because he hasn't shown it to us. So if he wanted to take some of his mama's advice, show us before you start telling us, because what we've seen thus far doesn't show that. So, my humble opinion.
Definitely hear you, Sean, on that. I think, do you know what? It's interesting. I think I saw this in terms of the mum being a more dominant force from like the second episode, because there was a part where when they
Kojo, we can't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now? My mic just went off. Sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that obviously the vibrancy of the mum when they were talking about the son and him getting married at a time was I said this woman is more dominant than the husband. And even in the conversation today at the table, we saw it again. She's more dominant than the husband, and it happens in the way that she talks. And what I realize is I was asking this question myself, which is where does his lack of confidence in himself, and because he said obviously when he was getting married that sometimes he doesn't believe in himself, he sometimes devalues himself in the way that he sees himself. And I said, where does that come from if you've got a great secure family unit? Where would that come from? That would come from when the energy that you're being given, and this is why I always say this, I say that with men and women, it's important we have both, right? We need both parties to participate. A mother and a father need to participate, okay? And we need healthy inputs from both parties, right? When the woman inputs more on the boys with her energy, right? We men suffer. We suffer a lot. Okay, I know like me and Sean were saying about how he cries and everything. I think this plays into it. So it's not that we were just seeing the person crying, right? It is the frame of a man, and when he has a lot more masculine energy inputted into him, there are certain things we just don't cry about because we understand the world isn't fair. We got to get on with it. You are a protector, you are a provider, you are a server. Get on, get up, get on with the situation. The world ain't stopping for you, sir. Okay, all right, and so when the person's crying over things that are, again, I'm not against people showing their emotions, but I think this leads back to that point that we were talking about last week and the week before about there's something not quite right. His crying that is happening seems to be. It seems like the input from the father wasn't as heavy. It's almost like the mum got more of the say in how she saw the sons and how they should be reared. And that may be just because of the way he's maybe the father's a bit more softer natured. He's not as dominant in that aspect. But even so, we don't need you to be as a man to be able to teach your sons and to have influence on them in the way they grow up. I think that's to do more with the fact that the mum got more input into the sons in terms of how they grow up. So yes, they said he's spoiled. The dad said, and this is interesting, the dad said he's spoiled, and the mum countered it. That's exactly what happens in a household. He don't run nothing. And that's a problem, because when you're a man and you're seeing your dad and your mum, and you see the dad getting run by the mum, and it's not necessarily it's bad household because it works, right? But when you see that in your household now, this is what you're going to replicate, right? And you're going, because now the mum has become almost the matriarch is it matriarch? That's the right word in the household. You start to take her tendencies. So now when you're dealing with issues, you deal with it the same way that your mum would deal with it, because she's now the matriarch. And that's what I'm saying to you, like, it's not that men need to be but leadership is so important in your household for men to see good leadership from their fathers so they can emulate when they go into their relationships. Now he's got a problem on his hands, which is the conversation between him and Michaela was so interesting, and I have to go and watch it again to really deep what they were saying at the dinner table when they were talking just one to one. When she was like, "Oh, I'm a bit possessive," that's another conversation in itself. But I'm a bit possessive, and then she mentioned about how she can switch off, and he was like, "Yeah. Do you also as well? Do you also lose interest really, really quickly?" And she was like, "No." And I said, "Why did he ask that question?" Because he loses interest very, very quickly. Why does he lose interest very, very quickly? I definitely believe that the value of the way he sees himself, the way he values himself, is also plays a part in how his attention span works in a relationship. He needs to feel valued. He needs to feel loved. He needs to feel coddled, basically, right? And that is going to be a problem for someone like Michaela, because she needs, I don't want to hurt some people's feelings, she needs a masculine male. She needs a masculine male whose frame is, Michaela, if you move mad like that again, I'm telling you now, we're not going to have this issue again. I'm not working that again. She doesn't need a person who's going to go, "So you're moving mad? Oh, I'm about to move mad too." It won't work, because that's just going to go on 10. She actually needs that male that goes, "Michaela, that ain't working here. Shut that down." But he won't be able to do that because he's never been taught that. So this is where we're saying about emotions. It's fine to have. And I know someone's saying 27 is too young. I don't think it is, because I think Miles did this with Karen. I think he handled it very well in the way he dealt with Karen. He was able to do it, and he was younger than Karen. It's not that he's 27. It is the mindset he carries. He hasn't got it. The woman that he's with, it will destroy him. It will destroy him, because he has not got the tools or the resources to deal with this particular type of woman the way she is. I don't think she's doing everything correctly, but I'm just saying he has not got the tools to deal with this type of woman. But let me get someone else involved to add to the conversation. Ray, what are you saying?
You just had a lot of great stuff in there, Kojo, that I want to address.
Go for it.
So okay, I'm not trying to say blame or fault, but I feel like a lot of, especially in this manosphere on YouTube, a lot of blame is put on the single Black woman, the single mother, and how she's raising her son and how she's making him, a deadbeat this and a deadbeat that. But then he had a father in the house.
I agree. He didn't step.
So how do you explain that? You see what I'm saying? He had a father in the house who sat there. And you're exactly right. That's exactly how it goes in the house. He's spoiled. No, he's not. I mean, that does not work in his favor. And you guys know how much I love Zach. But the moment Zach turns left and becomes spoiled and a mama's boy, because for me, a man can be emotional and not be spoiled and not be a mama's boy. I know for you it relates. But for me, it can be separate. See my point? He could be emotional, because I've had family members in my family who are Jamaican and they're strong men, but they're emotional too. You see, I think it was Jay who said that I'm into like, empathic gangsters. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? You can have men who are gangsters and they're empathic. They cry at the drop of a hat. Yeah. But this dude is spoiled and a mama's boy. No. So just as Michaela needs a masculine man, he needs a masculine woman. Just like the father is with the more masculine woman. You see? And a lot of people be like, "Oh, she's too masculine." Oh, sometimes a masculine woman works for a less masculine man.
I agree.
right? And who are we to judge and say is negative or positive? It's just the way they relate. The question is, and who are these experts? This is my first time watching this show. Where are these experts? Like, Dr. Nicole will be up in it like from day one. Where are these experts? They're like in the back, and I don't really hear from these experts. I guess they're coming. But at the same time, this is problematic. Being spoiled, being a mama's boy, and having a father in the household that didn't stand up and enabled it and is always getting shut down. That's problematic. And I'll also say this about Michaela. Michaela doesn't understand what it means that by less is more. Michaela is just ready. And like Sean said, over in it, like, oh. She doesn't know how to pull back. She doesn't know how to breathe. She doesn't know how to be rooted. And I agree with you. And someone else in your panel said that if she was with an older man, someone more masculine, more rooted, she'd be better. But this is how these people are set up. So I have no idea who set these people up this way, why they set people up this way, but it's a recipe for disaster. Let's see. I could be wrong.
Chris, you want to add? Did you want to
add? Yes, I do want to add. Okay, because I know some people in the chat were bringing up education. Zach's education, his family's super successful, educated. That's all fine and dandy, but we're talking about marriage. Being super educated doesn't make you prepared for marriage. I know culturally, some families say that does. Yes, maybe you can make and earn a lot of money and all that stuff. But we're talking about behavior, emotions, responsibility, right? That doesn't make you prepared for the assignment that is marriage. Also, people are saying it's okay for a guy to be emotional. I noticed there was a lot of ladies saying it. Ladies, I love you. I'm just saying nothing wrong with that. But once again, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that some mothers forget. If you're triggered, I'm sorry, but some mothers forget that when they're raising their boy children, that they are raising someone's future husband. He remains their baby forever. And I know that there's a level of that's my baby. Of course, forever. But we also need the male to be pouring into, like that Zach's dad should have been pouring into, you know what I mean? Just helping him understand the things that his mother just cannot help him understand because she doesn't know them. She's not a man. Doesn't mean she didn't do a good job on her end. She's just not a man. Right. And so it's important to have the balance because there's nothing cute about being spoiled. No, man and woman, nothing cute. We are in our 20s, 30s, 40s, spoiled. Really? Seriously? That's what we're doing at our age? We're being spoiled. Like, that's not cute. Nothing funny about it. And Zach, this is Creole. Sorry. Mid garçon sous. Okay. Mid garçon sous, Zach. Because you're frustrating me. Okay.
So we put a different language for you.
You're frustrating me, Zach. Okay. Mid garçon sous, mito jum. Okay. If you Haitian in the comments, you know what I'm saying. Basically, man up. That's all I'm saying. Man up. It's time. This is gonna force him. This marriage could force him to grow up or could break him. So we'll see what's going to happen. Same for her. It's going to really make them uncomfortable. They're going to have to either grow or everyone's going to throw a tantrum, go in their corners and say, I quit. You're not the one for me because I'm mad. And that's not a healthy way to handle conflict. Like with marriage, you have to forgive over and over and over and over and over and over again. Right? Because your spouse will hurt you, not on purpose, hopefully, but they will fall short. They will mess up. And so, but that's the maturity side of things. But if you're spoiled, then you'll have a really hard time understanding that. So that's my piece.
Love that. Sean looks like, go for it, Sean. What you saying, bro?
We still on Zach and Michaela?
Yeah, we are, bro.
All right, listen. I think just the last thing with these two is I think anybody that comes on the show, they need pre and post marital counseling. Because especially, I mean, in any marriage, counseling is helpful. And needed in many instances, especially after you've been together for quite some time. But just some of the things that I'm seeing is just super, super concerning. Now, again, and I know I made the comments earlier about how I would feel about wanting to have, sex with my wife or be intimate and touch in the very early stages or right after, we got married. But I think there's a balance too. And I think these two just go hot and heavy, and then they're going to wind up going that same hot and heavy and arguing. Right. And that's a dangerous combination when you have all of those pheromones going and you have all of those emotions going and was it oxytocin, all of those, you got all those chemicals going. And then we're already both very emotional people.
Yeah.
And then it's like a collision. It's like a nuclear reaction. And then you have an argument or a disagreement, the person does something wrong, and then that just sets off a chain of events. And I think that's the problem that I see here with these two. And they both don't know how to navigate relationships. They both don't have a lot of relationship experience. 9 months for him and 364 days for Michaela, right? So it's not a lot of emotion, not a lot of relationship experience, and how we adjust, how we navigate, how we work together as a couple. And although on paper Zach's parents are picture perfect, when you peel back that layer, it's not as perfect as we see when we've kind of dug into the parental dynamics, right? And how things are played out. And I get it. There's nothing wrong with having a mom that's strong and a professional, and that's great to look up to. And it's excellent that his father also has a great career as well. But there comes a time where there's certain things that a man needs to teach his son. And when you have the parents in the household, and that's what I'm sticking to, right? Because single parenthood is a whole nother dynamic, and we don't want to go down that path. We're talking about a 2-parent household. So when you have that set up, it's the ideal setup, so that when you reach, and almost every culture has it, right? It's, when you reach a certain point, the man takes his son and he shows him how, he gives him the way. The mother is going to do the same thing. If a man and woman are in the house, do you think the father is going to be having the conversation about the menstrual cycle? Right? And it's not to say he can't be a part of it or know, or, be included. But if the mother is there and present, she's the one that's leading that conversation because she's had the direct experience. She knows what a woman's body does. And the same thing for a man with his son is you get an opportunity to help navigate and help guide him down what the path of manhood should look like, right? So that's where I think things are just very off. And, the father is busy teaching him how to crochet and lotion. And that's cute, but the mother could do that. And how about you teach him how to pee standing up? How about you teach him how to manage his emotions? How about you teach him how to navigate a relationship, right? How to communicate, how to lead. And leading and submission is not about beating anybody over their head, about being heavy-handed. When I say those words, I know they can be triggering. That's not what I mean. Christ set the example. It's servant leadership. So, but it's still leadership. So we can't remove the word. It's still leadership. It's the right kind of leadership. And that's what I'm looking for. That's the lens that I'm looking for. So I'm looking in this relationship and not seeing the lens of a person who is set up to be a leader. And his parents didn't necessarily do the greatest of job, although they had tons of resources. They didn't do the greatest of job, from what I see, in my humble opinion, in preparing him to be a man in the real world.
Definitely, bro.
Kojo, everything Sean is saying, I so agree with. I so resonate with it. But maybe I'm going to say something that's going to be upsetting to a lot of people and triggering.
No, go for it.
But where are the Black men that are raising these Black boys to be men?
Fair piece.
Where are they?
In the future.
Sean, where are they? Because I don't know where they at. You see my point? Like they say over 85% of the black female household, I know we're not going to get into a whole single house motherhood, but but not only are they single mothers, but they're also the breadwinners in these households. Over 85% of African American women. So as we talk about this African American couple, how is it that we're with a family with a father and a mother and the boy is spoiled and a mama's boy? Like, where is the father? Where was his father? Where was his father's father? And where are the black men today raising black boys into black men? That's all I got to say.
Right. There's a lot of households that have dads in the household raising the family. Some are killing it, right? And some are there, like Zach's dad, but not teaching him the tools that he needs in his manhood. He's there. He's making sure there's a roof over their head. He's making sure they're eating. He's making sure they're getting into amazing schools. But the tools he needs for Zach to lead his own family one day, that's the stuff that he's not getting. And so, and that, I'm sure even people in the chat could like attest to like having a father in the home, but maybe either he's not present or he just maybe feels like my role is to provide. Right. And
yeah, that was my father.
As long as I do that, I'm okay. And if you have a mother, we're not blaming Zach's mom, by the way. I'm sure she's lovely. But if you have a mother who you guys aren't on the same page, and what I mean is like, I don't want to use for example, there are a lot of things my father did, my mother didn't agree with concerning us, but she never disagreed with him in front of us. The reason for that was, I will never open a door for you guys to disrespect your father. And so when we would say, but what did your father say? And I said, but Dad, what did your mother say? If that's what she said, then that's what we're doing. If that's what he said, that you have to do that. Once again, I'm not a parent, right? I don't have the answers, but I'm just saying it's important to at home for that to happen too. So that I know I've even heard mothers say that when their husband needed to father their children and really raise him up and pour into him as a man, sometimes they had to literally take their son out of the house and go out with him, go away with him, because sometimes it's hard to father boys in front of the mom sometimes, because listen, some of that's painful. And to the mother's eyes, that's my baby. You're being too rough. You're being too, and we're not talking about abuse, guys. We're just talking about regular, like pouring into him and stuff like that. So that could be hard sometimes for a mom to like process. And so sometimes the dad literally is like, let me take my son away and go talk to him and go whatever, because this is too much for mom. And she might try to step in and intercept. So they're there and some aren't there. But if that is the case where it's not there for you, now you know, as an adult, we get that, right? But now there's a responsibility on your end to say, how can I now still get the tools I need? Because at the end of the day, you still need the tools, whether you got them at home or didn't. Is it fair? No, but you still need the tools. Your future family needs the tools. Your marriage needs the tools. Your future children and generations need the tools. So you got to get them.
I agree with you, Chris. I absolutely agree with you. I just feel like that is in the minority. I know a lot of black men that are raising black sons to black men, but they are in the minority. I come from a household where my father, my uncles, they were all in the household, and none of them were present. Okay. My father had 5 brothers. They all were in the household, and not one of them were present. Now, that doesn't mean they were bad fathers. That doesn't mean that they're not great men. Let's just be clear, because my family's dope. But I'm just saying that my cousins, the male cousins and the female cousins, a lot of issues, a lot of struggling, a lot of relationship, a lot of problems. So just from my own family, my own perspective, where are the black men, especially the ones that are in the household, really, like you're saying, taking them away, taking them outside of the tribe, taking them on that journey to manhood? Where is that? I don't see it. That's all I'm saying. I know they exist, but to me, I think it's in the minority.
You want to add, Sean? What are you going to add, Sean? I don't know if Sean was going to add. What are you going to add?
Yes. So I hear Ray's point, and I think that there's some validity there. but there's so many layers and nuances to that, Ray. And I think when we pile that on to what we're talking about with Zach and Michaela and Zach's family dynamics, it's too much to try to pull back the layers, because it's really no one person's fault, right? You know, and even in Zach's parents' setup, it's not just the mother's fault. It's the father's fault as well. Yeah. And I would say the same thing with Black families that have broken down. It's not just the Black men that are not present. We can look at what are the reasons that they're not present and what are the systematic issues. And I'm not trying to be victim, you know, on a victim campaign here, but there's a lot of layers. And how are Black men received when they're in the home? You know, who divorces more in marriages, right? You know, women are leaving men at a greater rate. So, I mean, I'm not bringing up those facts because I want to counter what you said, but I'm just saying there's so many different layers we can look at that, and I just hesitate to just say the Black men aren't there, and then this is, you know, now we got the path to what the problem is. The Black men aren't there, and that is a problem, but that's not the whole piece of the pie.
Right. I was just bringing up the father because we were talking about the father, and I was relating to Kojo's brilliant point about the father being in the household and the role that he was playing. So that's why I was addressing the father. But I absolutely agree with you. Women play a part in it too. But specifically to Kojo's part is why I was addressing the male aspect of the family construct.
Yeah, I mean, I actually agree with everybody's point here, because I think we've contributed different angles of the actual problem. Both men and women are at fault, but in different layers, like what being said as well. And I think just relating it back to Zach, bringing it back to Zach and Michaela's situation in terms of his particular family dynamic. The fact that the father said he's been spoilt says that potentially he might have tried to say something, got shut down, and then didn't pursue further on, right? Probably to keep the peace in the home, or maybe to keep his marriage together, he decided to pedal back the gears, right? And this is why I'm going to say something so mad. I really don't advocate too tough for men to be with more masculine women, because that fight that happens, you may win the war in terms of your marriage, but the kids that come out potentially are going to suffer. So you won the war in terms of not killing each other in your relationship, making it to the end. You're going to have your 50, 40 years, but the kids potentially are suffering. And I think we're seeing it here with Zach and Michaela, right? Because now we're getting a situation where Zach is being coddled. And like you said, Ray, this is not just the mother's fault, because had the father had the aptitude to stand forth and say, hey, look, babe, I'm handling the children and the discipline. When I'm going to say it, you just back what I'm saying. Because in my household, I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes when I saw some of the discipline that my dad was giving, I'm like, you the way my mom would try to, like, oh, you know, she tried to say, oh, it's enough. Listen, at them times there, you think to yourself, love it that mom is stepping in for you. As you get older, you realize that's why it's important the father keeps on, and I'm not talking about abuse, by the way, I'm talking about good discipline. It's important that the father has that level to say, I'm going to discipline, regardless of whether the mom's crying about it or moaning about it. I got to do what I got to do. Because whenever that man steps back and then gives in to the pressure of the woman, I've said this time and time again, we see this even biblically. When Abraham decided to submit to Sarah, we got Ishmael. So whenever we're submitted, and when I say submit, doesn't mean we have to submit to one another, the Bible tells us. But when he decided not to lead, because he had already been given a vision, right? This is why I said that men leading the household, you have a vision, all right? If you're dealing with a woman that's going to fight you on leadership, it's not worth it, sir. Before you get married, quit it, because this fight will happen in the marriage, right? If you've got a woman that's trying to jostle with power with you in this relationship, I would bid you adieu, sir. Choose another woman. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, if you're having to jostle, fight, power, this is not the guy you can submit to. I would also bid you adieu. Leave that one alone. Because what the Bible lets us know is that the woman will try to control the man and the man will rule thee. There's always going to be that fight, right? But if there's always that tension that's always happening and the man doesn't know how to handle it and lead appropriately, it will... he may save the marriage, but his children potentially going to end up like what we're seeing with Zach here. And then, okay, you're not dealing with it, but now Zach's now dealing with it. And now he's not sure how he's going to handle this situation with Michaela, right? Because it's like, you're getting emotional, I'm going to get emotional. That's the way I've been taught. That's all I know. What else can I do? He can only do what he's been taught. So I think it's really important to have these kind of conversations. I think, like we're saying, both parties are very much important to fixing the problem. You know, I would put the one extra that, you know, I'm an advocate for men. I love them, but we are the temperature setter. If you are the leader, then you are going to have the brunt of the responsibility and accountability to make sure that the societies that we live in are going to be governed by you. I understand there are jail problems that we have, drugs, things that try to take us out of the game, we die, them kind of things there. Listen, it happens, right? And I'm with it, okay? But the rest of us who are left, okay, have to drive for healthy relationships and being healthy leaders. And that comes by upskilling your knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and also as well being able to listen, but also knowing when one has to take a decision and lead from the front. And, you know, so yeah, I hear both parties and both sides, you know what I mean? So Zach, if you're hearing this, brother, this is not an indictment on you, sir. We're just saying what we can see, and what the show has shown us as well. One last thing. What do we think about Michaela saying she was possessive? She said it, and she didn't say it like it was, I'm possessive. She said, I'm possessive, and what is mine is mine. I'm a little bit scared by that.
Michaela, she talks too much. She you know, less is more with Michaela. But I understand Michaela. I get Michaela. I see my young self in Michaela. You know, you're an overachiever. You would impress people. You're seeking validation and approval. So you talk too much, you know, and it you know, may get her in trouble. But I understand what she's saying. And she is possessive. And yo, when a chickie's possessive, look out, yo. That's mad drama. She going to be in your phone. She going to be following you places. She going to show up. She going to question you. Woo, a possessive woman, like a possessive man. That's trouble. Don't be trying to possess me now.
Chris, what's your thoughts?
This is another element of the immaturity. I can't be bothered. Listen, at my grown age, you know, if a man tells me that, I'm running. I know they're married, but there's nothing cute about it. It's not cute. Why would you? You're leading with that. He's forming an idea of who you are. And you're like, oh, by the way, I'm possessive, I'm this and whatever. It's like, believe it or not, there are people out here who think that that's a cute trait. Like, let me brag about how possessive I can be and all this stuff. Nothing cute about it. Usually when you're possessive, a lot of times you're like ready to go. Your tongue is sharp. You know what I mean? Because you're like, no, you're not going to do this. Man, guys, I'm nervous. But yeah, I'm not cool with it. Let's see how that play out, you know, because let's see how that play out. That's all I'm going to say.
And what man likes to be possessed? No man
apparently
wants
Zach
to be
does.
possessed.
He found it cute. He found it sexy. He found it turn on.
Really?
That's what he said.
Who?
Zach said he found it sexy when she said she's a bit possessive.
Oh yeah, he said that means that she really likes him or wants him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's lost. Poor guy. Oh no.
That's insecure. That's just screaming of insecurity. And I think that, you know, it goes back to what we saw with Zach just talking off the top of his head, because let's see how that all plays out in reality. Because we saw in that other clip, she was questioning him as to where he was. And I think there was a gap in terms of where he was telling her versus where he really was. So that's the possessiveness right there. And she was not capping. It was true. And from the looks of it, he was driving away in his car. So I don't think he likes possessiveness. He just is trying to say all the right things, or he's in la la land, and that goes back to all of the pheromones that they're worked up in. So you're in this euphoria because you guys are connecting so physically and caught up in the emotional things. You're just signing off on things that don't even make sense. That's a red flag for a man or a woman. Nobody should be possessed. Nobody belongs to anyone. Should we be accountable, in a relationship? Should we be communicative? Oh, for sure. But nobody's anybody's possession, and that's a recipe for a hot mess.
Absolutely. Totally hear that. Totally hear that. All right, cool. Let's move on to the last couple then, because I know it's the one that everyone wants to talk about, and that you get me. So we have Myrla and Gil. I know this conversation is gonna take that turn, especially when it gets to that money part of the conversation. But what was you guys' thoughts on on Myrla and Gil and what happened in this particular episode as well? You ready? You want to go?
Yeah, I think it was Essence in the chat that was saying that she likes Myrla, and I have to agree with her in that, and this may be a point of opinion that a lot of people don't agree with, but, she knows what she wants. And I know you talk a lot about tone, Kojo, tone. I'm not much into tone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I prefer you just to say, like, like a lot of people didn't like Trump. I didn't vote for Trump. I'm not a fan of Trump. I don't like Trump. But the reason why a lot of people like Trump was because he said it and he meant it. You knew exactly what he felt. You knew exactly what he meant. And white men can walk around this world and say exactly what they feel and what they say, and people love them to death. So here you have an educator. Again, I'm going to keep stressing, this is an educator, someone who works for submarginalized, underprivileged children. Is she rough around the edges? Does she not know how to read the room? Yes, I agree. Can she be moody and stink sometimes? Yes, but she knows what she wants. Where I'll have the problem with Myrla, and I think you had a panelist talking about this, is the expectation for the man to up his money. Sorry, ladies, I have an issue with that. If you come into a relationship with $500,000 and he got $50,000, you can't expect him to up his money or question why he's not on your level financially. You shouldn't be in that relationship then. You see what I'm saying? So until she steps with that energy, I don't really have a problem with Myrla. You know what I'm saying? And if she didn't like the room, then she puts her money in, she gets a better room. But to judge her because she didn't like the room, to say she's complaining, I don't agree with any of that. She knows what she wants. Maybe her tone, you don't like her tone. I don't have an issue with her tone. I get it. But let me see what other people have to say first. But we'll start with that.
Love that. Sean be looking at the screen like the way he's looking. Chris, go for it. Sean's looking at the screen like he's
Sean, I miss your cap. I want you to have it near.
I know where the cap
is. Seaway checked him in the chat and said she don't want to see his caps.
She doesn't see your caps. Damn.
It's retired for tonight.
Don't let her bring you down that road.
Seaway, she put the rule in. She was like, no caps for you tonight, Sean.
Oh. Some of us are fans of the cap, but no. I first have a question. The initial concern for Gil about Myrla's spending and her lifestyle, where did that come from for him? Because I feel like early on, it was like, my concern is her spending, my concern is her lifestyle. But I think that was before they ever had a conversation about money, right? Was that a production thing? I don't know. I have to go back because I'm like, I know that it comes up each time. My concern is this about her, my concern. But I'm like, when did that start for him? Because I don't think he knew anything about who she was, her background, how much she spent. So I'm like, when did that start for him? Did someone tell him for that to be his concern? So I have to really go back and figure that out because for some reason, I'm trying to gather when that started. But I felt kind of, okay, so you guys may not agree with me, but when Gil was speaking to Myrla's friends, it was weird for me a little bit. I don't know. I felt like, yes, those are her friends. Cool. He was meeting with the guys and he felt like this is going to be a breeze. No problem. I'm meeting with the fellas. The thing is, Gil, they're her friends, not yours. Don't mistake that. Anybody who's married, y'all know those in-laws, you can be cool with them, but let's be clear. If somebody got to take a side, they're taking their friend's side. They ain't your friends like that. Okay, so I don't know, man. That conversation made me feel a little nervous because one of her friends, not nervous, but I raised an eyebrow because one of her friends says he's her protector. The other friend says he manages the money. So I said, oh, well, then what Gil's gonna do? Like, and what I mean is they kind of hold a lot of space in her life. So when the friend said she doesn't need a man at all, I'm like, ooh, this is interesting here. She would like to be with somebody, but she don't need nobody. I was like, ooh. So that conversation to me was uncomfortable. It went left, and I felt like, where does Gil fit in? Because regardless of the fact that Gil is the most recent person in her life, he's the newest guy on the block, but he is the person that should be the closest in terms of influence and all that stuff because he's her spouse. So I don't know how this is going to play out. Because hold on, I want to make sure that I'm clear because I took some notes about these friends. Yeah, one says he's her protector. She's like a little sister. He protects her. One is like, I know everything about her money, every single thing about her finances. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm glad to know that she's financially responsible, that though she spends, she makes sure she's taking care of her business, whatever that looks like, whether it's saving, investing, whatever it is, that she is responsible with her earnings. That's a good thing. And that she will continue her lifestyle because she can afford it. But yeah, the friend says she doesn't need a man for anything. So I'm like, okay, Gil, clearly there's no room for you there. And then the friend says, if you can accept and respect what we've just said, then you'll be fine.
But didn't the friend say that she needed companionship? Didn't the friend say that?
She would like it, or she wanted it, or something like that.
But that's a lot that he could give her.
Yeah, he could. I just, like I said, because everybody else at the table, their voice is going to be louder than Gil's, period, in her mind and in the way that she moves and makes decisions. And so how does that work? At some point, your spouse is going to feel like, how do I fit in this scenario? So that was my biggest takeaway regarding that I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. It's cool now. You're looking at them like the bros, right? But it's going to get interesting. I'm telling you, like, that's just my perspective. So that's all I have to share for now. And Myrla, like I said, I like her as a person. I like the fact that she's driven and all that stuff, but whew, she's tough in a sense of like, she's kind of like this, you know? And like I said, I'm just not that way. So that's why I'm like, man, you know, I'm just not that way. I'm like, let's just try to like, you know, get to know each other. Let's be light, you know? So my personality is a bit different. So, but yeah, definitely the conversation with the friends was something that stood out to me a whole lot because I just don't see where Gil fits in.
Definitely hear you on that. Yeah, I agree that 100%. Sean, what are you saying? They took out too much space. They did, to be honest.
So I had to go through my little notepad that I have here. Yeah, Chris, I think because you are just probably one of the nicest people I've encountered on these YouTube streets, you could get away with saying that you like Myrla as a person. She has not shown us any level of humanity to like. She has done nothing but complain, harangue, harass her family, her friends. I'm just over her. Everything is a complaint, from he can't rub her feet to she's not, you know, we're not doing this and I'm not doing that. And the room looks horrible and they could have done a better job. And every time I just see her, it's like the Charlie Brown teacher, wah, 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 complain. I just want, like, why are you on this show? Like, why are you here? And her brother, bro, go sit down somewhere. Like, seriously, I'm over him. And if you don't do that, or I'm watching that, because then you're going to have to answer to me. Bro, sit down. What are you going to do? What you going to do to Gil? You ain't going to do nothing. Go finish managing your sister's finances because you seem to control everything. She's so smart, astute, and wealthy. She can't manage her own finances. Her brother has to do it. Like, how you grown, and then your brother is managing your finances? Like, that whole dynamic just was annoying. Then she had the other friend was like, she's like a sister to me. And he's speaking whatever he's talking about. Dry, another dry person, no emotion. It's like, what are you guys doing? She ain't had a man in God knows how long. She has this guy now. She decided to get on this show, and y'all just want to run him off. So the friend, why don't you date her? She's so great. You're so protective. Why aren't you dating her? Yeah, because you've seen them red flags, and you're like, no, I'm cool over here in the friend zone. Like, I'm just over it. And everything is a complaint. And she's like, oh, well, and I think we just need to be clear on one thing when it comes to Gil. He said, money doesn't motivate me. He said it's important and he understood that it's needed, but he said that's not what motivates him. And it doesn't mean he's broke or he has a lack of ambition. And one thing I learned in my professional life in managing people, there are different things that motivate people. So what you do in those professional and personal relationships is you do what motivates them to get the goal you're looking to. So what is Gil's motivation? Did she ask what motivates you, or did she just curl her lip and turn her nose up because she feels like it doesn't align with her? But did she hear him that he says, which for me and a lot of other men, it can be problematic when a woman makes more than you, and that can cause a level of discontent. And he was like, I'm cool with that. I don't have that ego. That's huge. I'm not that mature. So kudos to Gil. Kudos to him for saying that up front. But it's not a motive. But what motivates you? Maybe he's a humanitarian. Or maybe he's motivated by just emotional success. I'm just throwing things out there because I'm just frustrated, but we know that there's so many other things that can motivate a person. So find out what motivates him, and then let's build towards that. And at the end of the day, what are you open to? She did ask him the question, like, and that's the other part, like, that's the last thing I'm going to say because I don't want to like nail her to the cross, because she is an entire human being, able to have flaws and all of that good stuff. But I'm just looking at her behaviors. Like, that's a trigger for me. Somebody asks me my feedback and then you get defensive. So don't ask me. She's like, so tell me, what are some things that you see? What are some things that you, and he says, yeah, I think the high maintenance, I'm kind of getting that vibe. Or she said it first, like, do you think I'm high maintenance? And he was like, yes, I do. That's what I'm saying. And then she was like, oh, really? Yeah, really. You asked him, he's telling you. What do you want him to tell you? Oh, there's nothing. You're great. You're wonderful. Everything smells like roses. Then don't ask the question because you don't care for the answer. You ask me a question, I'm going to give you an honest answer. Be open to it. Listen, take feedback. Such a hard thing for a lot of people to do in today. It's like nobody wants to hear the feedback. They just want to hear everything's great. You're great. You're wonderful. You're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. March on. Empowerment. No, you got to hear some things to be better. Hear that feedback. Take it in. What you doing to change? Because clearly you're on a show being married at first sight. So something wasn't working right in your life. And I'll end it there.
Ray, you want to respond to that?
I get it. A lot of people don't like her. I understand. I don't feel the same way like a lot of people do. A lot of people think she's rude and they think she complains a lot. And I get it. But again, I do agree, though, that she's on the wrong show. What is that show called where there's a woman, a white lady who sets women up or men up with millionaires? What is that show called? She should be on that show where she's around.
It's
because
canceled.
I show that it's canceled. I love it. She or whatever show it is where they switch attention with rich men, right? Because I think a rich man would love somebody like her because they both have the same motivation, which is a great way. Sean said no. It depends on the rich man. Sean, it depends on the rich man. But you might find some rich man out there. She has a great body. She's in great shape. She's 35. She's an educator. She's smart. She has her own money. So there might be a guy out there who just wants to spoil her. So she won't have anything to complain about. She won't have anything to be rude about because he'll just give her everything. You see my point? And also something too, she talks about she comes from poverty, right? When you come from poverty, and again, I'm going to say this, when you're an educator, being an educator is not an easy job. I have a lot of respect for educators. So maybe that's my bias towards her and why I don't find her to be rude, and because I just find her just to be rough around the edges. But to be an educator and to have such a fervor and passion for young kids who don't have anything, it shows from where she comes from. And a lot of this whole money stuff too could be because she still has a poverty mindset. You know what I'm saying? Will Smith talked about this, how Jada helped him get out of that poverty mindset, even though he was a millionaire. So I understand where she's coming from. I feel for her, and yeah, a lot of people don't like her. So I'm going to stand up for her a little bit.
I totally hear you. Yeah, I totally hear you. I think with Myrla, I think I say again, everything boils down for me to attitude. Having more money, and this is, I always say this: having money gives you an ego. Everyone has an ego when you have your own financial means. And it's how you treat somebody when you have money that we really see what kind of person you really are. Right. And so I do understand that she wants a certain lifestyle. The brother situation in terms of issuing the threat was kind of mad for me. The friend that obviously supported her, I get it. He supported her. He's obviously protective over her. Who and this is probably what it is, right? None of them have probably told her the truth about her attitude. And that's probably what's happened, right? Because someone should have got a hold of and been like, hey, look, your attitude stinks. Because let's say you do get someone that's rich, right? The issue isn't necessarily the money, it's the attitude. It is how you conduct yourself. Are you going to be able to show that classiness? Are you going to be able, and I get it. I think her field kind of pushes I already said this, because she works in an educated field. A lot of her sentences are governed almost as if she's still in an educated field when she's talking in relationship dynamic. And I think she struggles to come out of that because nobody's told her. So if no one's told you, if no one's really helped you and said to you, listen, this is an aspect of your interpersonal skills that needs to be worked on, you'll never know. I remember we had someone that we used to at work, and they used to, this is the same, the way she talked, the exact same way she used to talk, just really brash. And then one day I just told her, listen, the way you talk is just abysmal. Like, you need to check the way you're talking, because the way you talk is as if everyone else beneath you. You know what I'm saying? Like, but everyone's thinking it, but nobody says it. And so the person can't change without that input. You know what I mean? So it's one of those ones where it's like, I think more than anything, it's her attitude. I don't think it's the fact she wants a lifestyle. She's entitled to want a higher lifestyle. Go for it. You know, you make enough money, why not? Everything is boils down though to that attitude and how you treat other people. Because ultimately, and there's another thing, money comes and go, you know. So if money is your motivating factor, brilliant, right? But it comes and it goes. What happens when money goes? If money was your motivator, if money is what was your foundation, when money goes or you hit a hard patch, like, you can't trust that person to have your back in that moment because she's already fearful of poverty. Money's her motivator. If anything ever happens to her financial situation and it's left on Gil's done, because the way she has an attitude towards money, right? How can we get to, and this is what I'm saying about, I get why she's complaining, but when we're concentrating more on us as being together, then the focus has to shift from And it was little comments that she kept on making. For instance, I think the pool thing, even the pool, it would be so much better if the ocean was here. God damn, baby, listen, you've been a negative Nancy right now. You know what I'm saying? They're not giving us. You're not participating in the flow of the movement we're here. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to make this work between us two. It's not great, and this is what I'm saying, that even the complaint has to be collaborative. So it's like, she might have asked herself, how do you feel about it? Yeah, I know it's not great, isn't it? Yeah, I know it's not great. Yeah, but we'll make it work. Boom. But it's not. It's I don't like this, and I don't like this. And I can't wear the mask because it'll mess up my makeup. And I can't do this because my hair will get done. But it's like every single time she's got an issue with something. And after a while, that is draining. She's not a bad person. I actually don't dislike her. I just think that she's got an attitude which drives people away. And those who stay are the ones who also enable her. Because they're the ones that I won't tell her about her attitude because I know she'll take it the wrong way or she'll get angry, and I can't bother to that, right? Because that attitude has been around for a little while. So I just think to myself, attitude is probably the most important thing. The energy, don't be a Debbie Downer. Don't bring down the energy down the room. Try and be that person that's uplifting. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's how I see her. I don't dislike her. I just think she just needs to work on delivery, tone, energy, work on those things. They're so small, but they're huge. You know what I mean? Sean, you trying to get back in, Sean?
Yeah, the when you mentioned that about the pool thing, it just brought me back to a couple of comments that she made. She was like, "My pool at home is better," and I'm like, "Ma'am, you saw the itinerary. I'm sure when Maths sent you the itinerary, since you're such an avid traveler, you saw the hotel that you were going to. I'm not professing to be, the 5-star traveler, but before I go anywhere, I check out the hotel. How many stars is it? I look at the room where I'm going to be staying. I don't think they blindfolded these people and threw them in a plane in the trunk and was like, okay, surprise, you're going to XYZ place. So you had a chance to look. If you wanted to upgrade to the Four Seasons, go for it, sis. But don't walk through the doors being a wet towel and complaining about everything. This is your honeymoon. Like, just, go along with the flow. Or if you know what you're going into, just have a good time. And then the other piece was something that is a huge red flag for me. And I'm walking out the door when her brother was like, Myrla doesn't need a man. Then why you get married? And most of us men, I don't want to do the universal blanket men speak, but I like to be needed. I want you to need me. And it doesn't mean like, oh, you can't live without me or you can't take care of yourself without me, but I want to be needed. I want to be a necessity in your life because I get married. Damn sure my wife, I need her, right? I need that companionship. I need that connection. That's important. It makes me better. So what do you mean? And they seem to, when you were talking, Kojo, it's like echo chambers. You don't get anywhere. I don't want a friend who tells me I'm right all day. I don't need it. And that just frustrates me when people just gravitate to that. You want somebody to always tell you you're right. People like that, it's like, no, I'm good. No, you got to be open to hear some things that you do wrong. And so do I. Like, nobody's perfect. Sometimes we have a flawed thought, right? Or sometimes we're moving in a way that needs to be checked. And if all our friends are doing are bigging us up because on the surface everything looks good, and I think that's the issue with Myrla and why we just go at her, some of us, so the way we do, because it's all about the surface for her, from her vows, talking about designer shoes, to her just overemphasis on having these things, right? It's what she leads with. And every time that superficial part is out of place, she's, discontent and moody. And she's self-described as moody, right? I'm moody. It's like, come on, lady, do better, be better. You want to be married? Act like it. You need him. and he needs you.
Definitely hear that. Definitely hear that. Any more additions? No. It is what it is, you know. Well, it is what it is. I mean, to be honest, I would just say, you know, I think these two are going to be interesting coming in the next few weeks. I don't know, and I think just on your point, Sean, as well. I don't know if anyone clocked it. She also says she throws tantrums when she doesn't get what she wants. I said, oh no. I said, oh no. I said, no, this ain't it. Sis, what's there to throw tantrums on? You support your own lifestyle. You don't need a man. Like, what is there to throw a tantrum over? Like, and that for me is what screamed the alarm bells. Like, okay, you can afford your own lifestyle. You can pay for everything. So you don't need him. You don't need a man. So what's going to be the thing that's going to cause you to have a tantrum? Right? You want their attention. You're gonna want their attention. You're gonna want all the energy from him. You're going to be an emotional vampire, right? And you're going to drain this man. And I'm not saying that Gil is the most amazing man, by the way. I'm just saying that at the moment, with what we're being presented with, Myrla is showing us that the majority of problems are going to come from her end at this moment. Now, it could change the next few weeks. We haven't seen what's going to happen. But for right now, Myrla's showing us that, there's some things that she just needs to get a handle on. But one thing I did appreciate was them sharing their stories about their fathers and how, both fathers had been murdered. But 3 fathers on the show have been murdered. Like, I don't know if anyone's deeped it, all right? And I think 4 fathers are dead. It's like, bruv, like, they just went all out for people that, I don't know if it's just coincidence or what, or they just chose this for the storylines, but yeah, so I did appreciate her sharing that, because it was a deep thing. He shared his first, but then she did share it the next morning. So definitely appreciate that. That's some vulnerability there. So hopefully he can break down some of those walls. But like I said, nobody wants to be dragging anybody through those walls. You get me? All right, let me get everybody's final conclusions, and we'll wrap up the show from Zia. Ray, give us your conclusion.
Yeah, so like as always, for me, I still haven't seen enough. I mean, I've seen a lot, but I need to see more. This is my first Married at First Sight, so I know you guys have a lot of references, and it seems like other shows were maybe a little bit more juicy, but hopefully it'll get a little bit juicier, and we'll see what their issues are, and we can be able to dive deeper. But so far, I like everyone. Everyone has their little issues here and there, but everybody's in here trying to live life, trying to find love, trying to find a connection, trying to make it, searching for approval and validation. So I get it. I'm here for it. I'm invested. And I wish them all the best.
Appreciate it, Ray. Appreciate that. Chris Natha.
Well, I look forward to seeing more of the couples and how everything continues to unfold. I am a bit concerned about how a lot of the individuals, the cast, is having these issues in terms of like either they're spoiled or they have tantrums or they have control issues or whatever the case is. That worries me, because just in a relationship setting, it's not a recipe for success. So that's going to definitely cause for some tense moments. But I wish everybody the best. But I know there's going to be some issues. There's a couple of the couples that I don't know if they're going to make it to the end. But I won't make any predictions. So we'll see.
Appreciate that. Sean, give us a benediction, sir.
Sure. So, one thing, and this is just throwing something up in the air, which I know is going to go nowhere, but it just drives me, and I'm sure probably a million other people that watch maths crazy. It's like, why do we have to have these 3-hour episodes? If I could have a direct connection with somebody in production to consolidate these and stop bringing us back tidbits of things that happened from the week before, just get into it. All we need is an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but these like 2 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours, then you have the unfiltered. Come on, guys. Like, I got a lot of things to do. I don't know about everybody else, but Jesus, like, can we do better with that? And to the couples, I am really excited. I love the honeymoons. This is so Ray, I'm semi new to maths. I joined last season, where everybody just pulled me in with Chris and Paige. They went viral. So I got pulled in by that and then started watching from there. So this is new to me, but I definitely enjoy when they go on the couple's honeymoon, because you get a chance to hear the other couple's perception of the person. So I think that's really a good part about it, because we're all, speculating from as viewers, but these folks are actually experiencing them. So I can't wait to hear how the couples experience each other. We see there's going to be a little bit of fireworks, so I'm looking definitely forward to the next episode. I just hope they don't drag out the honeymoon and we see like the first 10 minutes of their hotel stay all over again. Come on, maths, please. Please, I'm asking you, if you hearing me, I know y'all watch, y'all got your production assistants out there. Do the world a favor. I feel comfortable speaking for the entire mass universe of watchers. Consolidate it. We don't need the rehash and regurgitation. You're killing us. Thank you. I'll turn it back to you, Coach.
As always, Sean, thank you for the benediction. Sweet, as always. Guys, listen, it's been amazing. It's been a good chat. I think it's been really interesting. Good conversation in there, man. We've got some good perspectives as well. So definitely enjoyed it. We'll definitely have to go through a little replay of some of the conversation we had as well. But yeah, guys, if you do me a favor, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads of this channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is what we do every Thursday for Married at First Sight. We do this every Saturday for Put a Ring on It, potentially Ready to Love as well. So yeah, make sure you join us on these days for lives as well. Okay, it's where you also get an opportunity to have your say in the first half an hour as well, conversation. But we have reached the end, and you know what? If you want to continue the conversation, wait for it to end. Click on the comment section and let us know your thoughts. But you heard the benediction. We're going to leave on that note. I want to say, listen, guys, make sure you like, subscribe one more time. Click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. See ya. Little black, you know what time it is.